Like seriously, are you dumb?
Man, I don't know what's going on, but I see a lot of these fuck niggas popping they shit, thinking that niggas, you know, they tough, they cold with this shit, and it's absurd. I find that disrespectful.
Like seriously, are you dumb?
Talking reckless, bet he ain't gon' try. Ain't no coming back, one step and it's goodbye. He can see we let it fly, now it's so touch the sky. Another dumb way to die. They should warn them, they don't make it out alive. We don't talk, we just carve it in the side. Left the mark, now his name in the fire written high. Another dumb way to die. He ain't beat the preach as context, now he a highlight in the text. Tried to start but got reset, soon as he got checked. Guess he yesterday's news, now he online talking less. Boy was gassing up the smoke, now he choking on the stretch. True down, but still on his own sword, put that fraud to rest. Thought he was solid but cracked under heat. Now he's compressed, we the real highlight, leave our mark with the blade. Swing sharp, every text plain, no need for a shade. Bring heads back to the camp, left the fire engraved. And no echoes in the Barbarian name, living terrain. Biggest the game, watch his last words go live. Step wrong, now he trending another dumb way to die. Talking reckless, bet he ain't gon' try. Ain't no coming back, one step and it's goodbye. He can see we let it fly, now it's so touch the sky. Another dumb way to die. They should warn them, they don't make it out alive. We don't talk, we just carve it in the side. Left the mark, now his name in the fire written high. Another dumb way to die.
It's another way to die, why the fuck try us? Keep playing with me, I'ma show you I am untouched. Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Or you must be bored whole time. Super sad, barbarian soul. Drink that courage juice you needed trying to step to me. You know you a pussy nigga, slice your head off your body. Narratives and propaganda's not the way to fight, little bitch. The top is where you wanna be, but this is where we fucking live. One shot is all you need, the ball's the only thing we loaded. Got 49 in the drums, you saw your homie, now he folded. It's a bunch of headless horsemen walking dead up in these streets. I'ma call you Moses, write your death in your defeat, you niggas dumb.
Talking reckless, bet he ain't gon' try. Ain't no coming back, one step and it's goodbye. It's when we let it fly, now it's so touch the sky. Another dumb way to die. They should warn them, they don't make it out alive. We don't talk, we just carve it in the side. Left the mark, now his name in the fire written high. Another dumb way to die.
Especially when these fuck niggas be trying to talk to us barbarians and shit, stepping to us, thinking they gon' fucking come out alive and shit. Like, nigga, you don't understand, nigga, that we all fucking savages, nigga. Like, do you wanna die or something? Like, you niggas disgust me. Shame you niggas.
Yeah, you niggas disgust me.
Hey, you know what's so crazy, bro? I never knew you put that in the bag.
Yeah, shame of you niggas.
We in the building?
Yes, sir. What's going on out there?
What's the deal?
Hi, guys.
Himmy the Barbarian here with the rest of my Barbarian clique. Got Himmy Clark, got the Barbarian Male. We got Random Info, aka the Historian Barbarian. Also my dog Jalen, the Mystic Barbarian. So what we're gonna be doing here today is going over some stuff that's been going on over the past week out there in the debate land. You know what I'm saying? Our names was brought up a couple different times. So we just gonna be addressing some of the misconstrued information out there. And we're gonna get right to it. I'm gonna start off by addressing these pseudo killers, man. They brought me on they ain't bring me on their show. They did a whole show mentioning my name, had my name in the title in response to me and Said show that we had on Wavy channel. And so they was basically trying to dissect it and make it seem like they was whooping up on me. So I seen it and I stepped to the show. So that's what we're gonna review first, and then I'm gonna just talk about some of the things that's happening in there as the show goes on. I'm gonna let the rest of my barbarian partners chime in, and we're just gonna kick it and have a good time. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
All right. What's up to the panel? How y'all doing?
What's going on, bro?
Hey, Barbarian. Hey, Himmy the Barbarian. Relax. Relax yourself, man. Don't do it.
I'm straight.
Phenomenological. That's a hard word. It's the word is called phenomenological or phenomenological. Oh my God. Phenomenological is a term. The reason why because after Cedric left, I did get on the panel, right? Because it's about helping people understand what's actually factual.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Cedric get in, but easily enough, phenomenological means that they only can observe and describe what they see. So they wouldn't know anything about photons, neutrons, atoms. The CMB is actually in a different spectrum of light. You can't even see it. All right. The only way that we know about the cosmic microwave background is through radiation. All right. So that's why I was saying that logic was faulty. Those are my biggest things. There's some other terms I'll bring up to just express what that is. There's another term. It's a very interesting word. I'm gonna have to listen to it real quick to get the I ain't got no problem with it.
So look, now what I'm saying is, so basically, I was in defense of the biblical narrative, right? So I wasn't trying to conflate science and the Bible. I was exposing the flaw in Say's logic by trying to deny scientific principles by saying that something is illogical and can't exist in the Bible, meaning the time existing before the sun, right? So we know that that's a scientific fact that is true. So why would you believe that if the Bible says it, then it's not true? Just because it's the Bible? That was my whole position.
Repeat that again. That
part about the time existed before the sun.
Right. So right here, I'm explaining to them my premise, and they act like they don't understand what I was saying. So they was trying to make it seem like I'm trying to conflate science and the Bible, and I'm not. I was directly attacking the logic that said hell, saying that time couldn't exist before the sun, when it's a scientific fact that time existed before the sun. So he believes that in his own personal system. That's what he believes. But just because my Bible says the same thing, he's going to try to poke holes in there and say it doesn't make sense. That's what I was trying to explain to them.
Yeah, that's going to swing right into our little next discussion.
That doesn't.
You stupid.
That was 3 days, or that was a million days?
That was 3. What I said was in the Bible, day doesn't always refer to a 24-hour time period. That was my point. But to address what said, just
referred to what?
It can just refer to time in general. But to address what said, you said that when it talked about the earth in Genesis 1, it said that the earth was void and formless, right? Formless, right?
Yeah, so, boho and toho.
So you said our earth has land, right? So it couldn't have been talking. So it couldn't have been.
You gotta stop. We're gonna play the video because we're not gonna let you rewrite the script. We were dealing with what the video says, so.
So right there, they tried to say that I was rewriting the script. Well, I'm not gonna say they. She tried to say that I was rewriting the script because I'm detailing exactly what happened between me and Sid and what the whole narrative was. I'm not rewriting the script. Just because y'all misunderstood me when I was live the first time, and then you misunderstood me again on the live, don't mean I'm rewriting the script. It just means you lack comprehension.
Factuals. Because I'm over here listening when you talking and everything. They just keep trying to cut you off, like, and you see right then and there. That's where you see they're trying to spin a narrative right there. They trying to cut you off and then try to say, "Oh, Himmy don't like," but again, they're not letting you finish what you're saying.
Right.
So, and that's most of the time what people with lack of comprehension skills do. They just interrupt. They interrupt. But go ahead, my fault.
Yeah.
Let's play the video.
Okay.
Please and thank you. Yo.
Oh shoot. Yeah, why not enjoy?
Stretch it out a little bit.
Bronze Age. It was Bronze Iron Age.
We're gonna do it how he wants.
No, I'm not saying it. I was saying for the Bible believers, why not enjoy those Iron Age people for what they was, man? You know how to add up to it. Yeah. Go ahead, Jew.
Oh, can I?
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Right.
No, the earth was created significantly much later than the heavens. Much later, significant. So in the beginning, not the heaven and the earth was created.
Notice what he said, right? Y'all heard say that in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. I said yes. He said no, but then he said that we know that the heavens was created much, much, much earlier than the earth, right? That's scientific, and that's the same thing that's happening in Genesis 1. Is what I'm trying to get them to understand. It describes the heavens, then it describes the earth.
That would give you a geocentric perspective, which would indicate that this story is being written from a man's perspective, right? Again, water existed before the earth was formed.
Right. It says all that in
That's
Genesis
incorrect.
1.
That's incorrect.
No. That's not incorrect.
That is incorrect.
That's not. But what is water composed of?
Water is composed of 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen.
So that did hydrogen and oxygen. Listen, 1 second. Say, did hydrogen and oxygen exist before the earth?
That's a false equivalency.
But I'm saying, so this is still a spiritual book, so you have to understand that, right?
I thought y'all was doing that just now.
So right there, we understand the flaws that we're dealing with, right? So you cannot take your own idea of cosmology, which we understand through modern science, and shoehorn it into that text.
So did anyone of y'all hear a flaw in what I said? If y'all did, explain it to me. Anybody heard a flaw?
No, I think it's just that they hear the Bible, so.
Right there, exactly. They hear the Bible, so automatically see you brought up the science shit to them, and they couldn't. Again, they tried to push that. You know what I'm saying? Like sweep that shit on the rug. They not trying to. So.
But y'all see how I'm letting Said kind of guide it. He's telling me his position and what this is, and then I'm saying yes, right. You're absolutely right. Right? If you believe all of this, right? Why are you saying that it's not right? Then he said, because in the Bible, that's all I keep saying. Because in the Bible, it just don't make sense in the Bible. But you just said it exists in science. That makes no sense.
Yeah, the issue is they don't want to give any credence to the Bible at all, even if there is some things that are scientifically agreed upon and correct.
Right.
And so it's just a bias. And they may not recognize the bias, but it's there. So it's just how they feel about the text, the religion, the faith, all of it.
Right.
And that bias is inherently present. So.
Right. I'm not gonna go through this whole 3-hour video. I'm just really trying to touch on the main points because as you can see, their title is called Big Himmy the Barbarian Investigation. Did the Bible speak on the evolution of, let me see what the rest of it says, on the evolution of the universe, right? And so I'm pretty much answering that pretty quickly. In the video, I answered it in me and Say's discussion, and I'll be ready to answer that question anytime it's asked because I keep repeating the same answer over and over again. But let's see.
That text is clearly talking about earth, eret, land being created, and the heavens. So how do you get universe from that when there's not even one star present, because they are created on day 4? So you cannot be talking about the universe.
Can I? So I asked them, could I share my screen right there? And they didn't allow me to. So I'm gonna share my screen here so that I can explain what my position was, because a lot of people didn't get to see it. All right. Oh, the good KJV. So I'm finna show, like, right? This is what me and Sarah was discussing. Genesis 1 reads, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? He created the heavens and the earth. So that's not a deal of completion right there. I think the way they're viewing it is they're saying that, okay, in Genesis 1 it says this and it happened. No, Genesis 1 is a precursor to how they're about to tell you how the writer is about to explain to you how God created the heavens and the earth, not just the earth. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's the conflict, is they're reading it as a finality in Genesis 1, which I don't know why, because it goes on to describe everything, and I'm seeing it for what it is. Do any of the barbarians have something to say to that before I dig into any further scriptures?
Nothing.
No, you good.
Nothing. All right. Bet. Okay. So then it says, now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters, right? Those waters that me and said was just talking about, that existed in the universe prior to, right? But then I also told him that waters here don't just mean H2O, right? It's referencing to chaos, disorder. He said no. I told him that's in the Hebrew, and I can show you. Again, I wasn't allowed to share my screen, so I'm gonna go to it right now. They let him give his definitions of what eretz was. All right. So
hold on. Did y'all go to 2 or was y'all just on 1?
I went to the wrong scripture, my bad.
I was about to say. But I argued with you on this too, because I was saying like Genesis 1 only told about the earth.
Right.
Which was the same thing like they were saying, because it honed in on the earth and the earth's like the earth creation of it. I understand they're trying to say, without putting a God on it, just the events itself, what happens, what does science say that happens, or what does the God say happens? I mean, what the Bible say happened?
We know the events occurred.
Yeah, the events occurred in line, I guess, in Genesis 1.
Right. So here I'm gonna go and show where waters. This is that we're talking about. So it's a noun, masculine, mayim is how you produce water, juice, urine, semen, derived from an unused root meaning to flow, right? The Hebrew word for mayim primarily refers to water in its various forms and uses. It is a fundamental element in the Bible, symbolizing life, purification, chaos, and divine provision, right? Water is essential for physical survival, agriculture, prosperity, and ritual cleanliness in the Hebrew scriptures. So right there in just the usage with the Strong's lexicon is describing is how this word water is used, right? So we knowing this on a literal sense referring to water, and then on a metaphorical sense is referring to all these things that I just read, the chaos, which I told them also that the universe was indeed chaotic at when there was the heat or whatever, and then everything structure came later. Everyone knows this, right? So I'm saying this is the same thing that's unfolding in Genesis 1. The same exact thing. Uh I think that's pretty much my whole entire point about it. I don't have to get into every single um, scripture right now because I'm gonna let some of the other barbarians talk and discuss some other things. But my whole position was don't try to knock what the Bible is saying and what the Bible is describing when in your own realm of reality you hold these same exact things to be true, but because it's my belief, it's my spirituality, it's my Bible, then it can't be true. It makes no sense logically.
Okay, but Himmy, it's a person, Shalem boy. He said that water didn't exist before first generation stars. So what do you say about that? Because in your thing it says that it went over the waters of the deep,
Right,
and that was before all of that other stuff was happening.
right. But it's the same thing I just said. Waters doesn't mean waters like he's thinking.
Okay.
It means the chaotic state of everything itself before
But
God
they
started
also
forming order. Huh?
So
okay.
so in a sense, bro, is now for everyone that don't know me, I'm Jalen, I'm the mystic, the mystic barbarian. I study a lot of ancient texts. Right there where it said water, the very first thing, if this is the Genesis story and this is in the beginning, then like brother said, the water has different meanings and everything. I think in this situation, I think it was just saying new life was being born. Because if you look right there, meaning it says what at the last one? Semen. And in order for you to have life, you must have an egg, you must have semen. So I think that's hell nah. But that was but like I said, but I think that's what it's talking about. I think that's talking about like, the creation from chaos into like the new, what I'm saying, like into the new creation is what I'm saying. My fault. I'm high as hell, so keep going.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that it represents chaos in the beginning, which we all know to be true. That's pretty much it. It's not deep at all. Like I said, people are going to fight against it simply because I'm saying that the Bible is saying the same thing, but they're saying how could the Bible be saying that if these people didn't have these materials to be able to see this, and that's why I say it's divinely inspired. Because how could they know?
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? There's no way they could have known other than getting it from somewhere. So um, that's pretty much it.
We'll let y'all go because I was like,
Go ahead, say what you gotta say.
I had something to say because it's that whole water thing. Dang, why you taking out? But yeah, the whole water thing where you're because you're saying like it don't mean water, but every other time it said water, it meant water.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm gonna I put some scrutiny on that one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't.
You said every other time it said water, it meant water. That's not
true. Like if it like I can see it in the Bible when water was said, it didn't mean water. Like when Jesus turned water into wine, he turned water into wine. It was not representative. It wasn't chaos. It was anything. It was water.
That's false. Is what I'm trying to tell you.
That's false.
Yes.
Water wasn't water in the Bible.
What is what I said? Always. I said it wasn't always.
So where's another place that is not?
All right, I'm finna take it to you right here. right? So it says, through you walk when they shall overflow you not, and through the rivers I will be with you. Through the waters you pass when you shall scorch, nor and the flame you shall be burned, not the fire. What does that mean?
I can't read it. I need to see it. Because it's like you said so fast. Water is wet everywhere in the Bible. Joel is crazy.
Hey, Himmy, use the blue letter. I think it's better for the screen so everybody can see it.
All right, hold on.
But yeah, this in the Bible, there's at least I think 6 different ways that water is used. There's the literal water, and then there's the symbol of life and things like that. Also, sometimes water represents the Holy Spirit, like in the Book of John. And then there are other times where it's like chaos. All right, there you go. And if you could zoom in a little bit so everybody can see.
Himmy.
What's up?
Got it?
Could you go, my fault, could you go to, whenever you get done, my fault, Mel, whenever you get the chance, can you go to Leviticus 15, chapter 15, 16 through 18?
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up. And I got a verse after that.
We all my servant. Is that where we are?
Yeah. So you're saying that waters, hold on. I went to the wrong verse. Hold on. I went to the wrong one. My fault, y'all. It was 43 and 2. I don't even know why I'm having to say this.
Yeah, like you said that. No, we're not beefing with water, Joel. They're trying to talk about the way that the world was made or the universe was made in the Old Testament, right, in Genesis 1, versus science, and saying that basically it kind of aligns with the general way that science says that things came into existence in the universe and on Earth. But the issue was, okay, Joshua, 1 second. The issue was that, somebody in the chat is saying, okay, but in the first one, it was talking about water. And how could water doesn't predate all this shit. So he's saying that the water didn't mean water in the sense that we're talking about it, like H2O. So I'm trying to understand when and where in the Bible does water just mean other shit.
Right here in this verse that I have up. So can you see it? Water, fire, or burned don't mean neither one of those in the literal sense. Can you read it, honey?
When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burnt, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. Boy, how does that, what?
So what does that mean?
That's water.
So somebody's going to literally walk through water, rivers.
Wade in the water.
I'm not gonna play with man. Come on, man.
You said
man.
Somebody's gonna literally walk through the water and the fires and the rivers and not be burnt. That's gonna literally happen.
All right, I got one.
They even said rivers. How is that not talking about water? Come now.
I'm saying it's not talking about water. How you're saying it's in a metaphorical sense. That's
right.
What I'm saying. What's the?
I got a good one that clarifies it. You go to John 7, and then verse 38. Actually, you can do 37. just to give some context. Yep. So 37, and the last day, that great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried, saying, "If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believeth on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water." But it says here in 39, "But this spake he of the Spirit, which they believe on him should receive, for the Holy Ghost is not yet given, because that Jesus was not yet glorified." So that particular water flowing out of their belly represents the Spirit, the Holy Spirit.
Right. So you see how it doesn't mean literal H2O, honey? Or anybody else in the audience?
I mean, I'm gonna let you have it here because I don't want to go to. I am, because I'm not. I can make this argument right, but I know like we wanted to get to another thing, which was the whole point that that they couldn't have known about something in the universe.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So
go ahead, Jay.
You referring when one of the pseudo killers said that how could they have known the understanding of the universe?
Yeah.
And who was he referring to at that time? If I'm not mistaken, they were talking about Jews, right? Israelites, right?
People, yeah, the people in the Bible.
Okay. So Abraham is the progenitor of the Israelites, truth be told. Abraham is from Ur, which is a capital from Samaria, from Sumer. So now you're taking, now if you are a progenitor and you start in the line, you're going to teach your kids and your kids' kids what you know, correct? And what you believe and what's your faith. So at that point in time, he's teaching them what he has learned when he was their age. So that information, and as you can see from, if you look at the Bible, you look at ancient texts, the story is similar. And Himmy, you just said what, that the Bible was what, inspired, right?
Yeah.
So I rest my case right there. And so now
I
going back to what,
inspired though, not inspired.
Oh, well, my fault. Well, you know, my apologies for, using words, my apologies. But so now we go back to Himmy and the waters and everything. So if you guys know Tiamat, right? And Tiamat is the primordial deity of chaos. And also she's associated with the sea salt, like a salty sea, salt water. And her husband was associated with groundwater, another thing of water. And this water will mix together and create the universe. So again, in order for you to know certain things, in order for you to know, you have to go further into the past. But that's all I wanted to say. Y'all can keep going.
I think, hold on, for the chat, I don't think that he's saying like, you don't have to believe Abraham was real, right, to know that these writings came from a real culture, and Sumerian culture is real. And Sumerian, if the people themselves can write about things that are happening in the universe or universal things, regardless of who they attribute the knowledge to, if it is actual knowledge, like it's stuff that later on science, we see other planets, right? We see other things going on. We know that these things exist with telescopes and stuff. They didn't have that, but they had knowledge of other planets and stuff. That itself might be true, even if you're saying like, well, the story of the people are made up, but they're making up stories and they still have facts in them. You can't say that they don't know just because they don't explain it scientifically. That's a fallacy. That's you holding your belief as the standard. Well, I'm just going to hold science as a standard, so if you don't explain it scientifically, then you have no understanding of it. Makes no sense.
Right. You can't just make something real disappear because it exists in other places, other cultures. So, yeah, it can exist in science. It can exist in the Bible. That's not science. That's not, huh? I have a what?
Name what fallacy?
Oh,
One that I just said. We have a guest. This is Josh Lucifer.
Hey, why y'all going with these softball ass questions, man? This some bullshit. Turn the fuck up. Hey, hear me. Hear me. I got a question for you, my nigga.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, bro.
Go ahead.
Who put you on, nigga?
Who put me
Who
on
put
what?
you on, nigga?
Put me on what?
What set you from, nigga?
What set I'm from?
Yeah, nigga. You said you a Christian, nigga. What set you from? Who put you on, nigga? Say the Christian Creole right now, nigga. Say the Christian Creole right now. You better not fuck up. You get 30 seconds.
Ain't no Christian Creole.
Yes, it is. Oh, okay. This nigga a renegade. Nigga.
Joshua, hold on.
This nigga ain't no real Christian, nigga.
Science is a system of knowledge versus belief. It doesn't matter. If I know that there are stars in the sky, I could be like,
hold on. Let me get done interrogating this nigga, because nigga false claim the set.
No.
He false claiming the set, though. Like, y'all giving niggas pass for this shit.
You ain't no Christian.
That's what I'm about to say, nigga. You ain't no Christian. What you talking about?
This nigga tripping, bro. He just want to cause this. He came up here as Lucifer
to cause chaos.
Nah. Nobody can never take my nah.
You will
That's
be
my
cast
position.
back on your belly, sir.
Right. But no, yeah, because you keep saying that, but y'all use science as if it's a standard. Like you have to go by science or it's not true. But that makes no sense. I don't have to.
He gotta say he don't fuck with science. Then he gotta go Ruben, Silky, and Loyal.
No, what I'm saying is that I don't have to explain it scientifically for me to be correct.
Right.
But Genesis 1:1 is incorrect.
Why?
Okay, well, yeah, that's so yeah, y'all go and y'all do that.
I have something to add.
What? That's not a real question? I know he's not a real question.
Astrology, right, is way older than astronomy.
Yes, it is.
Astronomy is the actual science, but people were watching the stars for thousands of years before that. So how could they not know what's going on if that's the only thing they had to watch at nighttime?
Yeah, that mean they know certain stars and certain celestial bodies. That doesn't mean they don't know how they work and how cosmology works.
They work together. They're there.
It just said it was there.
Man, give me a real Christian. Give me a real Christian on the phone, man. Like y'all tripping. He not really representing the set, man. I'm kind of getting irritated. Hey, Himmy, come on, bro. You know Genesis 1:1 don't make no goddamn sense. Let's just be honest, man.
Why doesn't it? You can't explain to me why it doesn't make sense.
Okay, because it says that God created the heavens and the earth.
Right. Though heavens and earth exist.
So earth before any celestial body, any stars.
You said that's false. So I'm saying, do heavens and earth can exist? Yes or no?
No.
No, earth don't exist?
No, the reason why I can't, because you can't have an earth and an empty ass space. You laughing, but you know I'm telling the truth.
The earth was an empty space. It said it was void. It had nothing there.
All right, so empty space in a damn earth. Where the earth come from, nigga? Abracadabra.
Abracadabra, nigga. That's what science said.
That's literally what the Bible teach. Abracadabra.
That's what
God
said. Science teach abracadabra too. What the hell is constant fluctuations? Like you tried to bring up. Yeah, you thought you were gonna be able to run from that topic. You fell right into the trap. Got you right back up here.
Oh, you know who you sound like with that trap?
Not what is quantum?
You sound like Silky with this trap shit.
Man, watch that.
Oh man.
But what's quantum fluctuations, bro?
Quantum fluctuation. We already discussed what quantum fluctuation is. Vacuum energy. It's vacuum energy.
It's energy, right? So where did that come
vacuum energy though. See, y'all keep just saying energy. It's vacuum energy. Stuff behave differently. Stuff behave differently in a vacuum. Y'all keep doing this, man.
That's not my point. It's something.
What's your point? What's your point?
Existed. You keep saying that. You're saying that science doesn't teach magic, but it's telling you that something came from nothing.
Yeah, that nothing is a. Oh my God, why are we doing this again, bro?
Because I want you to
A
explain to the people how it's any different
vacuum. A quantum vacuum is the nothing.
Right, it's something though. A quantum
I know.
vacuum is okay. So it's not just nothing. So nothing from something is magic, correct?
No, it's not.
So what makes what the Bible say magic and not what science?
Because it's not a physical process. It's literally a nigga that exists outside the universe that tell the universe what to do.
Not a physical process if he's creating the world that we live in today.
Now, you know how you can get around this? If you say that God is a programmer and he's programming and simulating the universe. That makes no sense.
If that's how you want to explain it.
I'm not explaining it. I'm just saying it's a better argument.
No, that's just your better understanding. Don't try to make
that's a better argument.
Yeah, that's just your better understanding. That's how you want to frame it because that's how you want to understand it. But you're saying,
hey, you know what you could though? Hey, hold on, Himmy, I'm trying to help you, my nigga. You could say it's a multiverse. No, I'm trying to help you for real. That's how you get heaven and earth first, because that's from a different universe, nigga. Parallel universe type shit.
No, because it's not a different heavens and earth like what you're saying. You just made it
I'm saying God borrowed the damn earth from another universe that already had a star and shit that created the damn earth. And then brought it over here to the void in the beginning. I'm trying to help your shit out, my nigga. None of these niggas on the panel trying to help you, bro.
I don't know what kind of that's some you can't even say that's pseudo-Christianism or some shit.
I know it is, but I'm trying there's no choice but to get pseudo when we're talking about Genesis 1, bro. But at least I can argue that better. Hey, we borrowed this motherfucking earth from another goddamn universe, nigga.
I just told you earth is not what you're saying it is at that point.
So earth is not earth. Stop it, bro.
It's not. Hold on, bro. I'm gonna show you in Genesis 1:9 when earth becomes earth, right?
See, don't feed like the motherfucker. Hold the motherfucker. Sure, though. Hey, I'm gonna blame Himmy. Himmy made you motherfuckers 10 over the goddamn. Hell nah.
Yeah,
hey, Himmy, bro. Just tell the truth.
What I'm finna show you though.
Hey, you ain't a real Christian because a real Christian be like, fuck it. That's what the Bible say. Fuck science. You know what I'm saying?
But that's not going to be enough when I'm having people challenge the Bible. I'm making them defend their position.
Hold on, wait a minute. When did Christians care about niggas challenging the Bible?
Their understanding of that. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm challenging their understanding of their own science. They're telling me that shit can't exist and can't happen because the Bible says it. That they believe is true because science says it. That's my only point, bro.
But check this out. Ain't no real Christian care about a nigga challenging they shit because at the end of the day, real Christians kill non-believers.
I care about exposing the flaw in niggas' logic, showing the hypocrisy. Goddamn, stumbling on my words.
Hey, but if somebody speak against the Bible and speak against the God of the Bible, isn't that heresy?
You say what?
If somebody speak against the Bible, right, and challenge the Bible, condemn the Bible, isn't that heresy?
It can be. That's not.
No, man.
That's not how heresy is, but
I'll speak against the Bible. I wouldn't be considered a heretic.
It's different.
Okay, if you're a heretic, then Himmy's supposed to be getting you knocked off. If he really a Christian, that's what I'm saying. It go all the way back to this Christian shit. He not really gangbanging, nigga.
Man, hey, bro, you doing this damn Dante's Inferno bullshit. I see what you doing. I see what you doing, boy. Like, come on, man. Come on, man.
He's trying to make you an extremist. He wants you to be an extremist.
I want him to rep his set, bro. I want him to rep his set.
Why y'all want to mix biblical teachings with science?
Oh, we don't. Oh.
Well, the point was not to do that. It was just the fact that people will dismiss something just because somebody got it from the Bible, even if science did agree. So they may not agree on how, but they would agree that the fact that this did happen. So they agree that this happened. They don't agree about how it happened or why or something, right? Because somebody might just say God did it. Actually, this mixed with this, and now we have water. And
but y'all do know, like the Bible is like the concepts of the people that originally start out in Mesopotamia, end up in the Levant, and they have like a way of looking at the world around them. So science is trying to understand the natural world. So they didn't use science back then; they just used their imagination. So the things that we see written in the Bible.
I disagree.
All right, let me get it out. The things you see in the Bible is just like the stories handed down, forefather by forefather by forefather. They don't have anything else to use but those stories. And so these stories get written down, and they get written down in 600 BC in order to put strength in some people that come out of bondage and and try to reestablish themselves as a state. So it's wrong for us, even as Bible believers, it's wrong for us to try to say that these things are divinely inspired. They come from this great being. They come from their forefathers. It's their story. We should let them have their story. It don't even really apply to us.
How does that? How? Why wouldn't we say it's divinely inspired when you are acknowledging the fact that these people knew this stuff? They knew it.
Of course, they knew it. It comes from their imagination. It's their stories handed down.
So their imagination is accurate with science, is what you're saying? They imagine some shit that
tell me the
science don't
accuracy.
confirm.
Tell me the accuracy of their stories with science.
We just gave them to you. What do you mean? The earth
I missed
exists. The earth exists, right?
Okay.
The earth floats in space. All of this is biblical, right? How did they know that? How, even if they were on earth, how would they know that it's suspended in space?
Logical deduction.
That's a good question.
Logical deduction.
It's not a logical deduction, bro. If I'm on something, there's no way that I would know that I'm suspended somewhere in space. I would not know.
Hear me. Let me tell you how. Because they can look at planets like you acknowledged earlier that ancient people observed planets, right? They observed Venus. I believe they was able to see Mercury. Ancient people did observe planets, so they can say, "Oh shit, that planet look like it's fucking floating. Our planet must be floating, or must be suspended," as you said.
Come on,
Rob. There go your answer.
Nah, so I gotta address this. So we talk about early humans and how they observed space. They didn't observe it like in the modern sense with all the vacuums, planets, galaxies. They're not seeing that. They're looking at the sky as it is, and they see that it's a vast realm. That's what they're seeing. But the framework behind the understanding of the universe is religion. That's the framework.
You're right. You're right.
And that exists within every culture's background.
Yeah, that's
say that again. I missed that part.
But that's what I'm saying. It's because of that myth where now this planet becomes the realm of gods and things like that. We just can't completely look over that and say, "Oh, well, that's just religion and not science." At that time,
no, that's not science. It's definitely not science.
But at that time, we're talking about early humans. At that time, yes, that qualified as science because it explained the universe. Whether it was accurate or not was not the question at that time. Now we don't need that. We have science that we can test. We have better tools and technology to vet things, so that is no longer necessary modern today. But at that time, that's all they had. So we got to put that in this proper perspective, and not just try to leave religion out as if it holds no place no more. That it just always is like that. We can't do that.
All right, I'm fine with that because that's what I do. I use religion as a way to build in my community, to build, socially around me. I got a lot of family involved in the church. And so that's what I do. But when it comes to trying to pit religion against science, I don't do it. I let religion be religion. I speak about the things that they know solely for them, and I speak about science solely for us because that's present day. The stuff that we know, they're just not going to know.
Yeah, I understand that. We weren't doing it. That wasn't being done when Himmy went over there to the pseudo killers. That's just the perspective that they had versus the perspective that he had brought to the panel. And the issue is when you have someone talking about the Bible in a way where it's agreeing with modern science in certain areas, people who have a bias towards the belief system, they will use that as a way to shoot down any form of religion, whether it agrees or not. And that's the point we're trying to prove. And chill, that was their science at that time.
But you're not going to find much.
Back up what Bill is saying. The back Bill is saying the first people to even be those type of thinkers or introduce science to the community were priests. They were priests.
Exactly.
We talking about Stone Age, man. Stone Age transitioned into the agrarian when people started farming. That's when we started people starting to, ask these questions about where we come from, where does the earth come from?
Yeah, but that's more philosophy than science.
Hold on, real quick.
That, right?
You see that? You see evidence of what Joshua was talking about.
That's fine. That's fine, but you shouldn't call it science.
Hey, but Joel, hold on. You see evidence of what Joshua was talking about in cave art. You go look at cave art. Look at how they magnify the presence of the sun or the moon.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So that exists at that time, and that's what I'm saying. You just can't take that away. And say
Yeah, but we shouldn't call that science, though, Mel. That's
It's infancy. No. Hold on, it's science in its infancy. We can't be that damn. What's the call? What we call it? What's that word? When you refuse to believe something. I can't think of the term, but that's what you're doing right now.
Skeptic. I'm being too much of a skeptic.
Not a skeptic. It's another word. It's another word.
It's short for hard here. You no matter what.
No, it's not hard. It means you don't want to believe it. It's a word that denotes that you don't want to believe it. Skepticism means like, well, I don't really know. But there's another word. A cynic.
Well, it's not that somebody who. All right, so it's not that someone who is interested in promoting science doesn't want to believe it. I think that's the wrong way to characterize it. I think the proper way to characterize it is using the tools that we use today. There's no way to validate it. It's not that they don't want to, because in other words, if by using the tools we have today, if we could come up with, let's just say scientists today really did stumble across that the universe was started by some entity outside of the universe, they would accept it. But the problem is that you can't. Nothing like that has been found. So because of that, you can't say that they don't want to believe it. You have to say that there's no way
you don't want to believe
these things. You don't have a way to validate
Joel, I wasn't saying that. I was saying you don't want to believe that early people, early humans, or agrarians and pastoralists are the antecedents to science.
Right.
Without them, you don't have science.
You want to know why I say that? Because what science is doing is using tools to figure out what gravity is. I mean, we don't 100% know what gravity is, but they use science. They do testing. They send it off to something. They'll come up with something. They say, okay, this is this is H2O. We talking about water earlier. They'll send that somewhere else. They'll send that result somewhere else. Somebody else will test it. If they come up with the same thing they came up with, they say, well, golly, y'all, it's H2O.
Check it out, Joel.
And they agree.
Hold on, real quick. Hold on. I just want to say this too. I'm about to mess his whole head up. scientific methodology come from? Our modern science methodology comes from who? From what group?
I think the Catholic Church was the ones that
Christians.
funded it.
Christians, bro. Fucking Christians. Christians came up with the scientific methodology that we use today. The Bayesian method and all that shit, that comes from Christians. It's named after a Christian.
1 second, Josh.
Okay.
1 second.
That's cool.
A comment that says it was not. Science has a definition in history, which is religion to philosophy, to natural philosophy, to philosophical naturalism, to methodological.
All right, let's try to figure that out.
But no, all he's talking about is that science has a definition. So to call it science, and it didn't go by the definition. But all we're talking about, all we're talking about is the reality.
Do me a favor, though. Do me a favor. Highlight everything is everything. Like we talk about tools. Isago bowl was a tool. It was a tool to count days for a menstrual cycle. It could be used as a tally stick to count for mathematics. Like humans have always used tools upon our inception as Homo sapiens. Like we're not just going to make it seem like they didn't have an understanding of how to use tools. That in itself is science.
But that's fine. Understanding and science is two different things. That's two different things.
Okay, but the first step in the scientific method is observation. And what we're saying is when you're talking about something that's infancy, they were observing things. They were observing things and making a hypothesis about why that was.
So why not say that then? Why not
that's
say
what I'm saying.
early?
That's what that's what they're saying.
No, that's not what I'm hearing. People keep saying the Bible has science. You should just say that the Bible has observers.
He said it was scientific. So it was the start of what we would, later follow this method. But this is just the start of them just doing that and guessing things, really.
No, I think we should try to pull up and read.
When you're talking about the scientific method, like how they do now, right? I'm not saying that science is science is in the Bible, right? No. Or science is in any mysticism, because we brought up Sumerian mysticism as well, right? However, you do have observation, and you do have things that was their conclusion that actually that really is the conclusion. It's just that middle part. The science is going to it explains why. Well, why is that the conclusion? Why is that when you jump up, you're going to fall? Why is that? Okay, well, we have this thing called gravity. We have this, you know what I'm saying? Why. But I'm not going to say that if you jump up, you're going to fall, you're going to come down. That's not true, because it's in the Bible. That's what they're saying. Because it's in the Bible, it can't be true.
So observation versus testing is two totally different things. Do y'all agree?
Share my screen, please, honey. No, because that's observation is what starts the scientific method. Like, man, it's on the screen. Read the definition.
Y'all rough around the collar.
Can you read the definition of science for us, please, Joel? It's on the screen.
The systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation, experimentation, and the testing of theories against the evidence obtained. There you go. That's what I was saying.
So that what Joshua and both Mel told you, that that was in the early stages, right? So that would be observation, right? But observation, once you have observation, then you do experimentation on that observation, right?
Now, did they do experimentation and testing?
No, later.
Hold on. Even man stumbling on creating fire and learning how to do that repetition is a form of science.
Smelting metal. Hold on, wait a minute. Smelting metal is a science, bro. Smelting metal, dealing with metallurgy. That's a science.
He's not understanding.
No,
stone tool development is a science. Early using plants for medicine is a science. Tracking animals and monitoring their behavior is a science.
Right.
No, man, y'all shouldn't call that science, man.
Again,
It is a science.
Because you said so.
how is that not science? What do you think science is? What?
Because all right, so all right, let's go back to the smelting fire. You know, because they did, and they did really good before we ended up with say science. But what those people could do is tell you how to get it started. You know how much. Let me finish. How much whatever to add in order to get it burning hotter and all those things. They're not going to be able to tell you the temperature. They're not going to tell you that you need spark.
That is not a requirement.
You're right.
What is that? That's not.
They're in the early.
Come
stages.
on, y'all.
So-
Come on.
so
They
listen,
cannot break it down to
over
you.
time-
They just
listen,
know that it works. That's
Joel,
it. They can't explain to you how.
Joel, what they're saying is, over time, we did start understanding that stuff. Right?
Yes, because
That
of
happened over-
science. That's my point.
No,
That's
but
the
it was already
it's the
science to begin
evolution
with.
of science. So it started with observation, then experimentation, right? Then testing from theories that people were having about these things. That's how.
But you need all three, guys. We need all three in order for you to call it science.
You snap your fingers.
No, you don't, because if somebody has a thought process, okay, they brought up using plants as medicine. If I observe, the plant, right? I motherfucking have a hypothesis that this plant can help XYZ. I do the study, I research, and I keep using this plant and noticing that it's helping XYZ. Then my conclusion is that this plant can be used for XYZ. That is science.
So why? No. Science,
How are you saying it's not?
No. I am saying that it's not.
Medicine is not a science.
Hold on. Let me answer. No, that would not be science. Science is what active ingredient is in that plant.
I got a rebuttal.
Don't come. Oh man,
I got a rebuttal.
You put it underneath a microscope. You figure out the active ingredient. So science is so good that they actually don't even really need the plant no more. They take it, they magnify it in a pill, give it to you. There's science. And those people back at that time could not do that. They would have no idea. They have an observation.
I got a rebuttal. Humans at that time, we'll go back to the use of medication from plants. A lot of times, for them to even determine if something had certain properties or effects, they had to have trial methods. They just tried shit. Like how Neanderthals used chamomile for helping with plaque in their teeth. They just tried shit. That's a trial process. After that trial, observe the effects. After observation, now you use oral tradition to pass it along. And you tell others, here's what you do when you have this particular situation. You use this.
I'm with you. We on the same page. So they don't have the. So they don't. No. You cut it out. We got the definition on the screen. They don't have the experimentation and the testing of
experimentation.
God dang it. They don't have the experimentation and the testing of their theories in order to validate what they're doing. So that makes it void of being science.
Time, Joel. You acting like it's just once you discover something, then that's it. That happens over time.
No. I'm agreeing with y'all there. They had the observations. They could tell that somebody ate that plant and it took their fever away. Fine. I'm with that. But we shouldn't call that science. We should call it you can call it proto-science, fine. You can call it an observation, but you cannot call it science as we know today. You shouldn't use that word.
I think you're thinking science in its finality, and we're saying, and we keep saying that it's the start, right? It's the early stages where they're doing this observation, and from their observation and oral traditions, like Mel said, that gets passed down. Now these people are able to start experimenting and then testing hypotheses, so forth and so on. It happens over time. It's not instant.
I agree. So we proto then. We proto science is what you're saying.
As well, like Damascus steel.
Say that one more
I know
time.
what that is.
No, I didn't hear you.
It's a steel that they made that
Say
they
it.
lost the formula for, and they had to rebuild it, but they've never been able to figure the exact pattern out that they made it from and why it was so strong.
Juju is shaking her head. She's like, no. Help me out, Juju. Help me out, Juju.
So I think y'all are missing something. A lot of times when early humans, somebody got to mute. It's an echo.
It could have been me. I just went on mute. Go ahead, Juju.
Wait a minute. It's me. Sorry. Dang. I still got you going. There you go.
I don't hear echo here.
So it's on my side. So a lot of times when early humans would, use a specific plant for a specific purpose, or, metal or metallurgy, those things were not documented. Those things were not tested in the same system of science we know today. A lot of times we came across things that work for us by serendipity, and that is it. It's not science, it's proto-science, and also the reason why we can't call it science is because it took a long time for humans to separate religion from what we call science today. That is the difference between that proto-science and what we do today. A lot of times is because those things were connected with their belief system, or they were deified. Okay, y'all get it? Like if I just serendipitously saw that maybe this plant worked for someone else in my tribe and my baby got sick, I'm gonna use it. If it cured my baby, then like I deified this plant, because that's how they carried those traditions over. Because we're talking to a time where maybe they had little language, but they definitely didn't have any writing system. Talking about early, because y'all mentioned Neanderthals. You get what I'm saying? So those things usually happen serendipity, and those things were also connected to whatever belief system, if it was a system, or they deified those things. Some of those things got lost, some of them were retained, or they found new things, especially as they traveled. So it was like a 50-50 chance. Being an early human was playing Russian roulette with nature. Call it what you want. They had no idea what they were doing in the sense that we know.
What also with everything that Mel said. That's exactly what Mel said.
I didn't hear
that. It's like y'all are hearing something different from what
they
we're
don't hear
on the panel.
I didn't hear that. What also makes a difference is scientific tools. So you can have tools, but you can have scientific tools. Scientific tools are used for a specific thing, is because our senses, our five senses, how we touch, taste, smell, see, hear, they can deceive us, because how the brain perceives reality is very different from what reality is.
You have to use them to perceive the scientific tools.
What?
Still based on that, because you have to use your five senses to perceive anything coming from the scientific tools.
So can you use your eyes? No, because if you can use your eyes to, if you understand the brain, what I mean by perception of reality, like we have this discussion, the colors of the rainbow. Maybe y'all should have that discussion. Does the colors of the rainbow, are they the same in every culture, in every country? You'll see how like not as easy that may sound. Okay, because a lot of it goes in the cultural context. We can see light. What I mean by deceptive, we cannot see infrared light and things like that. We need tools to detect that.
But that's not the point.
I mean by scientific tools.
It is the point. No, the fact is that we know that there is light, right? The fact is that we know that there is light.
That don't got nothing to do with my. That has nothing to do with my point to say why scientific tools work.
Point is
why they're important.
Ours, right?
Nothing to do with it.
Your point is to object ours, and you've been agreeing.
No, I'm not objecting it. I'm telling you how early humans operate. Y'all are giving them the credit that they had no idea.
weren't early humans
No
using
idea.
some types of tools by like tracking, like having sundials and different things like that, and tracking the stars and using it for agriculture and all of the things? Wouldn't that be in their science they're using? They were figuring
No,
it out by
we
the
back to
seasons
observation again.
But that it's just y'all just don't want to say it. I don't understand why. Juju literally went
Because we
in
don't
her
want to go
whole
against the
spirit.
definition
But
you put up.
listen, what I'm saying.
Y'all are
Everything
saying that these people
Mel,
had science. It's not
everything that Mel
science.
explained,
Literally,
it's the
it is
early
not.
stages.
It
It's
is
the
not
early
the
stages.
same. Y'all can look over the
How
video.
does science
It's not
start?
the same.
How,
Like I
listen,
said, early humans figured out stuff through
listen.
serendipity.
How
It
did
was
the
by
theory of
chance. You
Juju,
don't. Science is not by chance.
Juju, 1 second. How did the theory of evolution start?
I don't know.
All right, man.
Charles Darwin making observations.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is, it took him time to be able to explain stuff in detail, and even how evolution is today, right? Different from just Darwinism, right?
Yeah,
So
he
it's
wouldn't have
progressed
linked
over
those.
time. Right, but my point is, it progressed over time, but it started early. That's all we're
But
saying.
they use science to prove his point. That's what I'm saying. So that wasn't just science.
It's the
They
same thing we're
they
saying.
use.
The point is, science that we know today proved those people right, regardless if you want to agree or not. That's
No,
a fact.
I tell you, I tell you what doesn't prove them right. What was the life expectancy of people back then? What they live like 30 or 40
What the hell
years?
does that have to do with it?
And that's got a lot to do with it because now we literally do understand diseases. We can test. We don't just observe now. We actually use science, like for real. And so now people are making it to 100, 120. They couldn't do that
All
back
you're
then.
saying is we have better technology, bro.
Oh,
that's all you're
you're not
saying.
being right, man. You're not being right. You put the
How am I
definition
not
up and
being
then
right?
following.
That's
How am I
crazy.
not following? All you're saying is we use better technology.
No,
to
it's more
better
to do with
explain stuff.
technology.
It's
More to
okay.
do
What
with
else it has to do?
technology.
They're
You
going
gotta
up these people's theories and stuff from way back when.
theories. You gotta go
Hypothesis.
to extending religion to philosophy. You gotta go all the way back there, and then that's when you get to science. It's just not we jump from one to the other. You make it sound so easy.
You're taking it like that's what you're trying to say.
I
read
heard
out the
y'all
definition.
say
Listen.
that those early humans had science. That's what y'all said.
Nobody said that.
Y'all did say that.
He said it was science in its infancy. First, he said it was science in its infancy, right? Which is what you were saying with the proto-science. Was the science in its infancy. Then he was saying that you can't use the word science for saying that people observed shit, had a hypothesis, and tried it out, and that's different than today now because we got a microscope and everything else. But y'all are saying that all the stuff that happened that people have done over the years isn't science because they're not using up-to-date things. That's what Joel was saying. You came in and said something else, but we're arguing with him over just the use of the word science because he feels like science has to tell you what things did down to the atom in order for it to be science.
I don't think that's what he was saying. But I hear a lot of misconstruing what science is.
Okay, well, he hears.
I like the definition y'all put up. That definition was the bomb. I don't know why y'all left away from it.
Science is.
You said that's what who said? That's what Mel said. That's what Joel. I know that's what Joel said.
What I heard.
That you
I'm
can't
going by the
use
definition.
That's not science.
I like the definition. The definition was the bomb.
You don't like the definition.
Yes, I do too. The definition, based on the definition, you cannot call what they were doing back in BC time
science in its infancy,
science.
but they're not saying that. They're saying that that's not science.
Okay, so we arguing past each other. Okay, all right, fine.
No, that's what you keep saying.
All right, I give up.
You keep yelling out. You can't use the word science. It's not science.
Because it's not. We put the definition up.
It's not
Put that definition back up.
It's crazy.
Listen.
So everybody around you, Joel, believes that it's the infancy of science, or what Juju and then wants to say is proto-science, which was science in its infancy.
No.
What you're saying is you can't use science at all.
Why don't y'all look up the word?
Again, you're mischaracterizing. If you say the Bible writers, if you say that science is in the Bible,
I said shit about the Bible writers being scientific. Like you don't listen. You put in your own shit, but you're not listening.
Bible writers weren't scientific. They were trying.
Himmy said this 20 million times that the Bible did not have science. We're not saying the Bible had anything scientific in it.
Yes, not
he
true.
said it a million fucking times.
Hold up, let me repeat. Let me repeat because hold up. Let me say something. Who was it? One of y'all said, "How did they know that the Earth was hanging up in a void?" You know, and they said that was science. They said that was science. I said no, it's an observation.
No, he said, "How would they know that?"
Inspired. That's what I said. It was divinely inspired. How would they know?
Yeah. But all the divinely inspired stuff just means it came from human beings.
No, my point is, y'all were saying they couldn't know this stuff. How
he said it was divinely inspired. Just said he said it was science. Now you're arguing that it came from human beings. Like you were not listening.
He moved the goalposts. He picked it up and ran outside with it.
He didn't. That's what he said to begin with. He said, "How would they know it was divinely inspired?" You said, "Hey, that's a good point. How would they know?" And then Joshua said, well, from observation, because they were able to see the stars and they were able to see other planets and things like that, and so they made a thought that this was probably the same. And then you said, "Oh, well, that sounds good," but now you're saying you didn't hear that conversation.
No, there was a lot of things said. Okay. And
we can trust that you know what you're talking about. So hush.
Cool.
Go ahead, Himmy. This I'll put it up there for you.
I got you. Duty wanted this. She wanted the definition of proto-science. So is this the one you're looking for, Juju? Is she there?
Read what it says.
Oh, it says, in the philosophy of science, proto-science is a research field that has the characteristics of an undeveloped science that may ultimately develop into an established science. Philosophers use proto-science to understand the history of science and distinguish proto-science from science and pseudoscience. The word proto-science.
Thank you.
No, what do you mean, thank you?
Keep going. Go ahead.
You need to study the difference between science and pseudoscience.
No. Before we go there, first let's deal with proto-science from science. Notice they're not putting them together. They're saying there is a difference. That's what I was saying to y'all earlier. Observing and doing actual science is two different things.
We all said it was a difference. They said it was the early stages, right? That's what they said. And this is exactly what proto-science is, an undeveloped science that may ultimately develop into an established science. Many times I sit up here and told all y'all that it happens over time. But it's
read that next line. Read that next line, because that's the discussion we're having right now is that next line.
Okay, bro. This is the
definition. Right? So you disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with anything this says.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
Nothing that this says disproves our point.
Yes, because you're calling it science. Proto-science is not science. And if you read further, it'll probably talk about. If you read further in this article, it'll probably talk about how I just explained how early humans trying to understand the natural world around them, and how that understanding was confused with like their beliefs, right? Which would have myth in that, okay? So they will intertwine that with myth and magic. That was the difference between that, what we call proto-science, that I heard y'all call science, and science as we know it today. That is why it is separate. That's why religion and science is separate. You can have someone religious be in science. However, they have to follow the methodology that has been established by modern science today.
But y'all are the ones rejecting the methodology.
I didn't reject
What is this?
That's it, because we said it started with observation.
Because I heard you say that those early humans doing metallurgy was doing science. Stop playing with me right now.
I read the definition from start to finish. I said it starts with observation. right? Is that true or not? Is that how the methodology to science is? Isn't that the start of the scientific method?
Yeah, observation is proto.
Okay, so if it starts with observation, then over time, these people are able to start testing these hypotheses. These different.
Told you observation with your senses will be faulty. I told you that.
So what? But they are able to test
No,
it later
so what?
on.
So now you're
They
not
are
trying
able.
to know.
No, it's a
That is the
process, Juju. It don't
problem.
happen overnight. It's a process.
What are you talking about? The
That's how you know
observation
it's
is
not
the beginning. You observe something and then you create a hypothesis. Like, are y'all not listening to what he's saying?
No, because it's wrong. I heard him.
How is that wrong?
Exactly what he said.
It is right. It's right. The scientific method starts with the observation.
You can scream all you want, but you're applying
The scientific method starts with an It don't start with observation. So what do it start with?
Those people weren't observing because you would have to have you would have to.
Who gives a fuck what the people was doing? What does the scientific method start with?
Let me help y'all out.
Hey man, shut the fuck up. He gone. What? This what I'm saying. You're not about to keep playing games. When he's saying what he's saying, stop trying to sit here and act like he's not saying what he's saying and just going off on a tangent to some other shit. Y'all need to go in the line of what is actually being said, not just saying what you want to say.
It is wrong.
So if we're talking about the scientific method, we're not talking about what those people were doing. We're just talking about the method.
Sean even says it's wrong. Golly.
I don't give a fuck what Sean said.
What's wrong?
The fuck? This is the bar reloaded, not Sean shit. Yeah. Some of that.
That shit crazy.
Now continue with what you were saying, Himmy.
It's just insane that I keep repeating. I'm reading a definition of science off the screen. They're seeing it.
It's because people keep getting confused because they want to keep adding the Bible when we're only talking about science.
We've been moved past the Bible.
I know, but all they keep talking about is, but the people in the Bible wasn't saying this. The people in the Bible, we're not talking about the Bible. We're talking about science. We're talking about the scientific method right now. That's it. Not if the Bible people knew about it. We didn't even say the people in the Bible did science because they said that they were divinely inspired. So that takes away science.
No, that would be curiosity.
That takes away science. So we're not talking about science.
It's
in the Bible, because the Bible is supposedly from God, so they weren't doing science.
I'm gonna just throw this in there. I think where y'all are at is because when it comes to science, like they gotta believe in it. You know what I'm saying? But it's the curiosity, but they gotta believe in the results or the outcome to see it all the way through for the whole scientific procedure and methodology. So it's kind of because they're going with nothing when they're doing the testing. They don't have, they're going off a hunch, or they're going off of, I'm curious, this might do this or this might do that. So they're putting it through the scientific method. It's really not. I mean, observation. Like I said, it's more, but the divine part would, I guess,
your
would be the
observation is why you have a hypothesis.
Not what the curiosity
early humans
is.
have been doing that since the beginning of time, right? If they figure something out, they
it's so weird that people who are saying that they like science, right, are saying like it don't start with the observation. Okay, so what does it start with? Are they divinely inspired to have a hypothesis about some shit that they never seen, heard, or felt?
I mean,
what sparks the hypothesis if not somebody observing something?
So is the observation only done with eyes?
No,
I just said hearing, smelling, tasting, all of that.
Right. It would be more so noticing.
No, we're not talking. So the people in the Bible didn't have to do none of that. They was divinely inspired. They were told that. So we know that they're not doing scientific anything. We're talking about the people outside the Bible who was just early cultures.
I ain't got a dog in this fight, so I'm gonna let y'all have it.
know that the scientific method is an approach. We didn't ask what the scientific method was. You need a reason for your observation. I don't need a reason to look at something and see it happen. I saw it happen.
And you want to know why, right?
And that's where you go along with the whole process.
That's the whole point, man.
But you saying now it's something before observation that we have to motherfucking do. So before you observe something else got to happen before you can observe it.
That's not science.
Well, a lot got to happen. There's a whole lot of stuff that happened before you even
it's because you said the word Bible that everybody's bias and retardation hit the front of their lobes, and now they can't get past the Bible word, so they can't even get to what the fuck we're talking about.
That's why I told you I'm be exposing the flaws in their logic. Soon as they hear Bible, they throw everything that they know about science away because they're trying to disprove the Bible. I keep saying that, and y'all keep coming up here and doing it.
Oh man, now you made that up.
I didn't make it up. It keeps happening, bro. It keeps happening.
But right now it's the hypothesis come first. The hypothesis is first. You just thinking about some shit you never thought, seen, touched, fate, nothing. You just thinking about it, and now you want to run and try to find what you was already thinking about to observe. Make that make sense. How did the hypothesis come before?
I have a question.
Then your conclusion.
How did humans, like in the early societies, not like early humans, but actually like early societies, how did they know the different planets and shit? You can't see Jupiter with your naked eye.
Make it make sense.
But the Romans had a god named Jupiter.
I mean, but you're assuming they didn't have nothing. You look at the architecture work and you assume they didn't have this. You look at the buildings and you assume they didn't have this
We're going off of science, right? We're using science here. We're not being pseudo, right? So science says they don't have that.
Right here, Sean, how are you trying to tell me this does not start with observation when you wrote the scientific method is a systematic approach to acquiring knowledge involving, let's go in order, observation, formulating a hypothesis, experimentation, data analysis, and drawing conclusions in that order. But however, you're trying to tell me observation. Don't start with
formulating the hypothesis. What exactly is that?
That comes after an observation.
You start with the observation.
Yep. Okay, check that down.
Right after you have an observation, you have a hypothesis.
I read the definition of science.
You can observe something and never get to the rest. That's what we said that they were doing at first. We said early humans were observing things, but they didn't go down the rest of the line yet.
Over time. I kept saying it happens over time.
So the rest of the line, the rest of the spot, that came over time with the more that they tried to get answers for shit. So what didn't y'all hear when we said that you're repeating what we said as if we didn't say it?
Because I feel like people think that you're arguing against science.
Over time. Hold on. Everything is everything.
Wait, who said that they named the gods after the planets?
Hold on. Everything is everything in the comments just said over time is not the process, though. That is the complete process. It happens over time. What the hell are you talking about? Nothing in science is instant. Over time.
Of course not. But science, when you say science, you're implying a methodology. You're not just you're dealing with a lot more than observing.
Of course.
We already said that. You gotta go. You bye. Have a good day. Like he gotta go.
This stuff is crazy, man. I keep
because when you can't even hear what somebody telling you, That makes no sense. I don't know how many times people had to say science in its infancy, proto-science, or anything else for you to understand that that is what the fuck people are saying. I don't know why you are intent on putting words in people's mouths.
I'm just trying to figure out why they couldn't accept it takes
It
time.
would be a better debate if you understood what somebody was saying and you had another side to it and y'all could talk like that. But to misrepresent it constantly to create another argument is really, really slow. Like, come now.
They want to debate that science doesn't start with an observation. Which one of you science folks want to debate that?
Yeah, that process definitely starts with an observation. There's nothing that you can do before that isn't an observation.
Y'all check out Juju.
Sean P wants the debate. Bet.
Sean claims he wants that debate.
Right.
You're gonna lose that, Sean.
Bet. Set it up.
What was the topic again?
Does science start with an observation?
Does science start with an observation? Like you'll be so
everything starts with observation
every time. You've got to be so full of yourself in your ass for you to really think that science don't start with an observation.
Dude's goofy, man.
You can't see. You said gravity can't be seen. Please, bro. What made people start to even try to know what gravity is? No, it was an observation of something falling.
Observation is not just seen.
What the hell? Is the observation of somebody? That wasn't a hypothesis first.
We're not gonna act like trial and error doesn't take place.
But they got hit, and they wanted to know why shit fell. It was an observation. Like to think science doesn't, the scientific don't start with an observation sound crazy as hell. You gotta observe something to even know that it's there. To even know anything. What?
Hey, one of y'all in the comments tell me what dictionary y'all respect, so I can look up the definition of science in that.
Go to Webster's.
They wilding as hell. You just look up the scientific method and see it starts with observation. I'm confused. You said they didn't know what gravity was. It started with an observation. Then a hypothesis was made off of the observation. Then you do all kinds of motherfucking tests and shit to collect data so that you can have a conclusion. Like, what are we saying? How the fuck are you not observing something before you try to make a hypothesis about some shit?
So would that be numerology then?
Say the link is posted right there in the chat. It's pinned. It starts with an observation. There's no way it cannot start with an observation. You have to observe something to create a hypothesis. Like what?
The formulation.
Niggas just want to be like, you don't know.
Yeah, I don't even understand.
Like, bro, that just is sense.
It's crazy. This is OD crazy.
The link in the chat. Y'all gonna debate if the scientific method starts with the observation?
You said drop the link. Drop the link, honey.
The link is posted. It's like literally pinned.
Yeah, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. You can't miss it.
Yeah, just scroll through the feed. Yeah, it's on in the chat.
No, it's right.
It's not science. We're talking about the method. Start with the observation.
Working for no reason.
That's all we're saying. Y'all can't get past nothing to realize that we're saying that it starts with the observation. She said it starts with hypothesis. That was wrong.
It's not
Go ahead.
working.
Well, I mean, it's a thought. It starts off with a thought, and then the thought goes off into the observation.
Wait a minute.
What made you think about that? You saw something? You felt something? Make it make sense. I can't think about how random fruit tastes if I didn't even know it existed.
I mean, but you're talking about first day, like the first naming the first fruit, naming the first.
No, we're just talking about observing something and making a hypothesis. You observe it so you can continue down the rest of the scientific road. But you first have to observe some shit.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. But everybody keeps saying you don't have to see nothing, feel, taste, know nothing in order to start a hypothesis. You don't have to observe shit. You could just randomly think of shit you don't know about.
Well, you know, the crazy part is when you think about the science of observation, and then you go into astrology. You go into the astrology and astronomy. You know, some of those things, some of that stuff only happens like once every 1,000 years, once every 500 years, once every, you know what I'm saying, 10,000 years type shit. Where they claim that, you know, things that orbit and go around and around and things like that. So you're saying that they observed it. You mean tell me one person had to sit around and wait 1,000 years for this one star to come to be seen, and then wait another 1,000 years to confirm it?
They didn't have to sit around, bro. They were just observing it and passing it down through oral tradition, like Mel said 35 minutes ago.
Like a full moon, an eclipse. Some of these things only happen only so many years, right?
Didn't the Mayans have a full calendar of thousands of years?
But they was years ahead, though.
No, didn't it end in like 2012? They were like the Mayan end date.
Yeah, but they went up to 2012.
Bruh.
They didn't start there.
Oh man.
Come on, man. Give me that one.
Is you gonna read it, him?
Man, Silky.
I'll read it. What is it? I can't read that shit.
I mean, we waiting on you for the scientific method. I just been filling time.
Oh, because I thought I've already explained it so many times. But the scientific method, Silky wanted me to go to Merriam-Webster, so that's why I went. It says principles and procedures for the systematic pursuit of knowledge involving the recognition and formulation of a problem. Right? The recognition.
Systematic pursuit of knowledge, right? Keep going.
Stop, man. Let me finish reading. The collection of data through observation and experiment and the formulation and testing of hypotheses.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
Definitely starts with an observation, man. Juju keeps saying it starts with the hypothesis. I don't know, how could you get a hypothesis without observing something? What would make you think of have a deep think about something that you don't even know exists?
You need a conclusion before the hypothesis. It comes to the conclusion of the hypothesis. Well, actually, the conclusion comes after the hypothesis, but that comes with your summary, with your beginning summary.
No, they keep saying that it doesn't start with observation.
Nobody said oral traditions are always credible, man.
It's collecting data, right?
Once these things are able to be tested, then they are confirmed, bro. Why y'all keep making it seem like we're saying that an observation is the end all be all, and y'all know that's not true in science? I read the whole definition to y'all several times and said it starts with observation, then a hypothesis, then you test it, and then all of that. That happens over time. I said that time and time again. It happens over time. I don't know what y'all are arguing against.
They just want to argue because they just don't want you to be right. You're saying something starts with an observation, and you want to argue that it doesn't start with an observation.
Well,
Joel, nobody's talking about a fucking Bible. We're talking about the damn science. We don't care about a Bible. We know. We just told you there's no. The science wasn't in the Bible. It's divinely inspired. Like, what are you talking about? Shut up. I literally said that before I kicked your stupid ass off. I'm about to delete you from my whole goddamn.
Sean wants to come up, honey.
Sean can't want to come up because I put the link in the chat 1,000,000 times and it's pinned at the top, so he don't want to.
No, bro, we know the difference between a scientific theory and a regular theory, bro.
We're not talking about a theory. What we said is that the scientific method starts with an observation. Sean said it doesn't. Juju said it doesn't. Like, what are y'all, all of this theory, all that shit is irrelevant to the fact that you all said it doesn't start with an observation.
Disagree with
like y'all want to get your own doctrine.
I said it in the beginning.
You're really going to get your own doctrine to say this.
You gonna let them plead their case?
No, it's not. A hypothesis is not your.
They're not coming up here. That's on them. But right here it says you need a reason for an observation. So now a hypothesis is coming before you fucking observe anything. He's saying, blatantly saying observation is wrong.
How?
So you're saying you don't have to observe anything. Like, are we slow? What? What is going on?
The reason is the hunch, and that goes to the belief.
We don't care about a hypothesis. You have to start with observing anything to motherfucking get into any hypothesis. Y'all are going everywhere but the fact that you start with an observation.
This dude said.
Can anybody in the chat say that in the scientific method it starts with the observation?
He said, blatantly saying observation is wrong. Why? That's what the scientific method says. How the hell is that?
That's what it says.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, you just what?
So I think just
click the link. Y'all need to click the link.
Hold on. There is a difference between just blatant observation and observation with the intent to, see more than what it's about. That's why I put in the chat, asking why or how it happens is a necessary step with observation. Being able to do trial or test it is a necessary step with observation. Looking for patterns, clues, rules, those are necessary steps in observation. I'm saying that those people did that at that time. Was it under the scrutiny of the concrete evidence we have of science today? No. But it was a necessary step. And all I'm saying, that necessary step counts as science.
Well, I don't know where they're looking at. This say the science steps, scientific method, make an observation, ask a question, background research the topic, formulate a hypothesis, conduct an experiment to test the hypothesis, data record and analysis, and then draw a conclusion. So the first step would be make an observation, but I just swore that everybody kept saying that's not the first step. I'm really trying to understand how the first step wouldn't be to make an observation. This person said something about to think about something, right? Start with a question. What is your question based on? An observation that you had that you want to know the answer to. So if an observation is to start to the scientific method, and you're going to keep telling me that you don't have to observe shit to start, that makes no sense. and then keep going everywhere else. But a scientific hypothesis, a scientific theory is not that's not the question. That's not even what we're talking about. All we're talking about is what do you start the scientific method with, which was a observation.
And over time, you get everything else.
Over time, all the other stuff comes along with it. They define it the more and more and more and more and more. Because you're talking about early ass humans, shit in the 20s, they had the pseudoscience. That's where everybody thinks it's 3 races or species of human and all that. That was pseudoscience, right? Right, and that was in the 1900s. Yes. Why would it be like to ride light? And what I'm saying is that because he saw a lightning bolt, right? So like he observed something. Like what are we not? Why are you keep not acting like you're observing something? Nobody said nothing about people in the Bible doing anything science or doing anything science. Nobody said shit about science in the Bible. Could y'all please stop doing that?
What I responded to Joel saying was what they talked about on the Pseudo Killer show, and saying that people back then couldn't know certain things. That's what I started off with, responding to Joel and saying, well, how the fuck did they know that our Earth was hanging in space? I didn't say shit about it being science. I said they knew stuff. How did they know it? I didn't say they studied science to get it. I said they knew stuff, and it was divinely inspired. Joel said, no, that's not divinely inspired. Then that's when that conversation shifted us into talking about what science is, how it starts. Mel was responding saying that these people were doing this. They were observing different things in that time, and that was the start of early science. Genesis 49, Joshua said the same exact thing. Juju came on and said the same exact thing. Everybody was agreeing. So I don't understand why y'all keep trying to take it all the way back to the biblical conversation that I had when I was just responding to Joel and others who said how these people knew something. I said it was divinely inspired. And we know they know it because they knew that Earth was hanging in the sky, right? How did they know that? Had to be divinely inspired. They didn't have science, but science confirms that that's true. That's the whole point. And y'all keep going all around the circle, just to avoid that. Y'all keep going against what science is, the scientific method and everything, just because y'all want to disprove the Bible and what y'all think y'all heard. It's crazy. I never once said that those people was doing science and that the Bible was explaining science. I said they knew because it was divinely inspired. That's exactly what I said. Now Joel is saying it wasn't divinely inspired, it was their observation. You see how we got here?
Yeah, that's why I said that he about to go. Nobody got time for him. He just said the exact opposite. Now you saying the opposite. Like, bro, come on, bro.
Oh man, bro.
All he was saying is it's the fire because they said the world was hanging in the air. How did they know that? It was divinely inspired. Now scientists have done rigorous research and you find out that the world is suspended in the air. Oh.
Sean said, but nobody said none of that stuff you said was wrong. Sean, put Sean comment on the screen about what he said.
Which one?
That one.
That's irrelevant to what we're talking about.
Right, because nobody was going against any of that. All we were talking about was because Joel said what he just said in the chat. Y'all just read it, what he just said. I said it was divinely inspired. He said it wasn't divinely inspired. It was their observation that led him and Mel to go into having a scientific conversation and about how these people observe this thing. And that's how we got to the point to where we at now. When y'all watch this back because I'm sure y'all gonna review it. Y'all will be able to see that's exactly how this conversation progressed. And y'all got up here and was arguing against a scientific method. Every last
Did nobody get up? No, did nobody argue against the scientific method? The argument is against how loosely that y'all are using these scientific terms and then trying to express them in a manner that they just basically generalize and sum up the solution to something, which ain't the solution to something. You just can't simply say observation and leave it there. A scientific observation is not a regular observation. Just like a scientific theory. A theory is not a scientific theory.
Bro. You sound crazy.
Is it an observation?
No, the scientific observation is not a regular
Is a
observation.
scientific observation a hypothesis?
A scientific observation.
But can you answer my
is
question?
not.
Is it scientific? Yeah. Okay, but is it a hypothesis?
I gave you the definition of what a scientific observation is. It requires tools that are associated with the observation because it's a method and a process. So it ain't just sitting there looking at something or just guessing. There's no. I'm not saying that y'all said that. I'm not saying that. I'm not blaming nobody for saying that. I'm only just trying to clear this up for the people in the back. A scientific observation requires tools and testing methods to help us be able to go to the next step and move forward. That's why I was saying what I was saying, the way that I was saying it, because we generalize the word so much that we just think we're just looking at something and that's being scientific. That's the same mistake that the AP dude, the ABO dude, kept on making, trying to say that something was science and it wasn't scientific at all. I'm not saying that y'all did that. I'm not saying that y'all are arguing against the scientific method or anyone else is arguing against the scientific method. I am merely saying that when we say observation, we can't say observation because that's generalizing it and people are going to be under the assumption that observation is simply staring out into the sunset and then formulating a question about the goddamn sunset when you didn't have any tools or anything else that applies to your observation that would help you render the next step in the phase, which would be the scientific hypothesis. So that's why they make these terms separate: scientific observation, scientific hypothesis, scientific theory. Because people are just dropping the science on all of them and just saying theory, observation, and hypothesis, and they're two totally different explanations. I have two total explanations.
But Sean, Mel, and Tiffany and Joshua both spoke on tools that these folk use. They all.
I didn't hear the conversation. That's what I'm saying. I said that in the chat.
But I think that is the issue: is people aren't hearing the conversation and they're coming up here arguing, and in the comments arguing.
I ain't arguing with y'all about that.
All right, that's cool, but that's what it seemed like in the chat.
Okay, but what I want to know is,
I'm arguing with y'all about terms.
A hypothesis.
Right.
What is scientific? What?
Is scientific observation a hypothesis?
A scientific observation.
I mean, it's a yes or no question.
No, it's not. A scientific observation is a fundamental practice of using sensory experiences and tools to gather data about the natural world. One more time, just yes or no. You asked me yes or no.
I'm just making sure because I was told in the comments that the hypothesis came before our observation. So I'm just trying to make sure that observation.
No, you know that's incorrect. No, that's not correct.
You just said that, and so did Chill and Way. And everything else. So I'm just asking to make sure that I know what I'm talking about here. So you're saying, okay, a scientific
observation has fundamental practice of using sensory experiences and tools to gather data about the natural world. It's not staring off into the sunset.
So when somebody observed, an apple falling out of a tree and decided that they wanted to look into why, that wouldn't have been an observation, right?
That's a regular observation. That's a regular observation.
Right. So there was no observation.
That's like you walking out and seeing somebody drive down the street. You observe somebody drive down the street. That's not a scientific observation. That's just you observing something that happened in nature.
Right, but he wanted to know why it fell, which is why we know what gravity is.
Okay, so the moment that he wants to know why it failed, then he's going to use tools to help him figure out why the apple fell from the fucking tree.
But that's later.
Right, but that's past observation now.
That's not later. That's not past observation. That's not past the scientific observation. Okay, let me clear it up one more time. Just listen to the definition, and then we understand.
I want an explanation. I want an example.
Dude, no. You didn't. I'm finna give you the goddamn definition again, and then I'm gonna give you a simple example. A scientific observation is the fundamental practice of using sensory experiences and tools to gather data about the natural world. It's the starting point of the scientific method, which no one is arguing. No one is arguing. Scientific observations, I can provide it. I can provide it. Nigga, you talking to somebody who do this shit. I ain't using no Bible, nigga. We talking science. Scientific observation. No, don't ask me where am I reading it from. I'm reading it from the book of science. If you must know. Nigga. The book of science. The book of science. I ain't never not had no source ever. The book of science. Let me give her an example. Here, then we can argue. All right. So basically, now according to the scientific observation, okay, I would have to go out and study the tree. The apple tree, to be specific. So I am going to go out there with things, and I am going to chart my experience in that observation of that tree. So that would mean, okay, how many apples is on the tree? Which is it? Does the apple fall at a particular angle or a particular time? When it's, you gotta, all of these things go into why the fucking apple fell from the tree. So as I'm collecting data through that observation and coordinating and using tools to measure and all that old bullshit, that is a scientific observation. I am merely only saying, right? And I'm not going against whatever Melvin said originally. I'm not, because I don't know. I went here. What I am saying is we can't use observation so loosely, because you give other people an opportunity to use the word. I am defending that point and that point only. I don't give a fuck about none of that. The people in early.
Well, it starts with observation.
Yeah, we wasn't using it loosely because I was reading it from the scientific definition. So I thought y'all.
What scientific? You talking about the wiki article that you was reading? Talking about proto-science?
No. Not the.
See, I didn't see that.
Off the definition of science. Juju wanted me to bring up proto-science. I was on the definition of science, and I read the definition of science.
I ain't see none of that.
But that's what I'm saying. So I think the assumption was that we was using observation loosely. That's why I kept telling you we wasn't saying that. Like what you're saying, we understand that we're talking about science. So this is how this stuff is applied. All they were saying was back. In those early times, some of the early humans started doing some of those things that we call observations, and that's a fact.
Who was doing it, and where's the evidence for them doing it?
We got a whole Egyptian society.
What?
When they were doing.
No, I thought you. I'm thinking. Okay, so basically, my bad. I'm thinking that when you say this, you're talking about early man, like 300,000 years ago. Because you can look at early man 300,000 years ago, or not even 300,000 years ago. You can look at early man 180,000 years ago in South Africa and see that they were developing tools to be able to help them figure out the natural world. That's going to be some type of a process. Does that make sense, man?
But that's what I'm saying.
You brought that up,
This is what they were arguing against.
Right.
Okay, but earlier on, they're ignorant. Yeah, that's why I told you earlier in the goddamn chat. Won't you give me a quick recap? But you want to keep on arguing, motherfuckers. But the whole point, Mel, to your point, there were things that they had to figure out, like fire. That's a scientific
I said
process.
that. I said that exactly.
Fire is a scientific process, but they didn't understand fully the natural world like as it is today, which goes back to your point, Himmy, about the process and of well, not the process, but technology just being better for us to be able to answer things that they didn't have back then. It's like we got DNA now. They didn't have DNA in the 80s. DNA, we didn't know who these people was in Mesoamerica prior to DNA coming in the 90s, right? Because we didn't have that as a tool to be able to help us answer that then. So we just thought we seen some black people and it was this, that, and the third. And they were like, hold on, but there's more to it. Genetically, we ain't all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So I mean, through experimentation, whether accidental or intentional, there is a particular process. Now, the moment that I said in the chat when someone brought up the Bible and y'all was going against Joel's point or whatever he was trying to make, my point was the moment that you try to use the Bible and make it scientific, then it becomes a pseudoscience, and that's not the Bible's intent, purpose, and job. That's not what it's trying to do.
It's divinely inspired.
Correct. So that's what. Hold on.
That's what I said.
That was the argument. It's divinely inspired.
So y'all was just all over the fucking place.
No, they were all.
No, what happens is people assume because he said Bible that he's trying to marry Bible and the science.
So Joel was doing that. Am I correct?
Right. So I'm gonna say my point to you, son, while you're here. I'm gonna see if you understand it. This is my point. Right? Me and Sid's conversation started over the existence of time, or days before the sun. Right? He said, "How could that be possible?" I said, "You know that that's possible because you believe it in your science, right? That time existed well before the sun." Right? He said no. And so that's how we get in here. It's like, because I'm using his own logic against him, he's arguing against the science that he knows to be true.
You said Cedric?
Yes. That's how it all started.
So hold on. So okay, all right. So we know, according to the Big Bang Theory, that through that interaction, and a long time ago, things transpire from that interaction. Mm-hmm. And what you're saying is, according to that explanation of the Big Bang Theory, is that there were days, there was existence before existence, per se, if that makes sense.
Right, just time.
Right, time. What we know or what we define it as today. Right?
Right.
Okay, all right. So, okay, all right. I see where you're using that logic against him. That's all I just wanted.
Right.
What you got to say to that?
About ain't no time until human beings make it up. That's a human measurement. That's a human measurement. That's a human measurement.
Time is a concept before it was. Time existed. We just didn't put numbers to it.
Right. I'm saying that's a human thing because when you outside of the earth,
you was gonna live and die regardless. Like you get older.
I'm just saying. So, but if you're not going around the sun,
time still exists outside the earth.
How?
No, hold on. Listen to what he's gonna answer your question.
Yeah, I said if time is marked in a 24-hour period, once you leave the gravitational field of the sun, then what time is it?
Light years.
But that's how we mark it.
That's a measurement, though.
You see, that's still how
time.
we mark
Time
it.
is a measurement.
But what I'm saying is the time will still go on.
So there's a human thing, though.
There's an agreement, though. There's an agreement that it's a human thing.
That's a human idea. And so the Hebrews wouldn't have had the ideas you're trying to make them have. And so they had
no one on the panel was doing that. No one on the panel was doing that.
Yeah, Himmy's trying to say that argument started with them that it was a time before the sun or something crazy like that. I'm saying the Hebrews didn't have the order of none of that right. They was all
in the Hebrew.
They didn't have to have the order.
Himmy argued it.
Well, listen,
they had a lunar calendar. Yes, they did.
Right. So they didn't have to have the order right. Listen, you're saying they don't have no concept of this.
They ain't had no. I'm gonna stand on mine. They ain't had no
about it. How did they
Okay.
Hebrews didn't have no calendar. What are we talking about?
They had a lunar calendar.
How was
No,
this
they
stuff
didn't.
documented? Listen to me, man. How was this stuff
Okay,
documented?
so what's
if
the
they had no
Sabbath then?
concept
How
of
do
it?
they count the Sabbath?
Yeah, that's later. That's later on. You get it? That's not when the creation story was a.
But in the beginning of the
wasn't
Bible,
written first.
they talked
It's,
about
you know, it's,
the moon going from big to small to disappearing and coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you see how I explained it? It's the lunar phases, but that's how they explain the lunar phases. Especially there, huh?
Come on, man.
That's the lunar phases. But they talked about the lunar phases, and that was what they used.
That is funny.
That's
So
all
y'all-
I'm saying.
Hey, what
They
chapter
said they
that
didn't
is?
have the lunar calendar, so that was to
What chapter is it in where it said that the moon was big, small, medium?
Oh, hold on, I gotta look at it because they was arguing over what was a new moon or a full moon. Was a new moon actually a full moon? Was the full moon dark or what? Because of what the Bible said.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's how I remember.
back thousands of years though, people would call. I mean, people think the moon died. I mean,
I
metaphorically.
understand that, right? But I'm just talking about a concept of time, of days, of things going. You know what I'm saying? They had a concept of it even before we had these minutes, hours, and seconds.
Well, 300,000 years ago, we had no concept of time because people were just trying to survive the natural world.
So time was not a factor? You knew?
No,
Like they still had experienced time like we did. They might not have.
I'm not. Listen,
experienced it on a daily basis.
I give up.
No, but let's just listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying back then, 300,000 years ago, early Homo sapiens had no concept of time, right? So what I'm saying, even though what we know today, hold on, that's not what listen to what I am saying to you. I am not disagreeing with how you view time today. What I am saying to them, they had no concept of understanding what we know today as X, Y, and Z because it's our concept. So I'm saying they were just living in the moment, unknowingly trying to survive their natural world because everything is trying to kill them. Right? I heard people bring up diseases, circumstances, and different type of animals. All of those things was impeding on your life, right? That's why somebody brought up how long were people living at some period of point earlier on. All of those were benefactors of not understanding what we know today. So I'm not going to argue that point all the way because it's kind of like useless to do so. But it is, everything is going to come from our creation.
Say it again, Sean. Say it again.
You said that time was a human concept.
The Egyptians had one of the first calendars.
Yes. The Egyptians did have one of the first calendars, but our concept of time is more modern than it would be for ancient time. I don't think that they saw their natural world the way that they were seeing it. It was just one of those day-to-day things.
Hey Sean, remember with the pharaohs, the time started with the pharaoh.
Yeah, when he reigned.
The history started with it started with each pharaoh. It started over again. They didn't have like a 3,000 year. No, man, come on, y'all know that.
Nobody.
But it's like you're saying time doesn't exist unless we say so. That makes no sense.
Right, correct.
It exists without us saying so.
But listen, that's how we track it, right?
Suppose you on Mars.
Did those things not happen? Do we not have history of events that's happened? And if you want to remove it,
that's not in denial. That's not. No one denies that.
Even if you're not counting it, it's happening.
Nah, you trying to mark European stuff. You got to know how you mark. Like I said, the ancient indigenous culture called the Nile Valley Africans. They mark time differently. They didn't mark time like the way we mark time.
A lot of cultures mark
That's
time differently. Can I say something real quick? They mark time differently, but as a animal or a human being on the earth, you understand your time of day and everything. Like I was saying, my dog understands time. He knows when it's time to eat breakfast. He knows when it's time to eat his dinner. He knows when he wants to go on a walk. Like he knows the time of the day. Like he understands it's time for this.
Yeah, I get it. I think we're under the impression. I think we thinking like we thinking now. You're not gonna be able to get away with that. That's not how people. Nope. Nope. You really think they knew how long the day was? Y'all really think that?
The dog.
Hold on, wait. I got y'all. Hold on, I got y'all. So I want you to know that in California, time is different. It's not the same time right now.
Right.
So think about what I just said. So if it's not the same time, you really think humans, you had to get technical to realize that a leap year and all that stuff that we talking about.
No, but that's what I try to
wasn't in the
explain to
game,
people.
bro.
Listen, watch this. So just like I'm saying, y'all be thinking I'm trying to use
You are.
marry the Bible and something, but no, I'm just confirming some of the stuff that you're saying with your science.
No,
right?
you're not, man. No, they don't even got modern science till you.
It's not modern. It's divinely inspired. They don't. They don't.
That's religious.
I'm lost. Hey, I'm
Of course, it's
Did you say that science is divinely inspired? What did you say?
No, he said that he talking about the book, the knowledge.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like religion to be religion.
Knowledge of time is
But I'm saying y'all.
Well-
I'm saying they're saying they don't understand this stuff.
You got God. Why you need science? Think about that. Why is science so important? God know everything.
That was the point.
My point for me. I'm not.
Right, so
saying
God
that-
know everything. God don't need to be scientific. It's crazy.
Exactly, but y'all argue for science.
No. Listen, if God don't need science, God can just say, well, boom, and it all come. Don't argue with
That's
people
what
who
he
deal with
did.
science. Okay,
That's
right.
what-
I
but
agree
y'all
with you.
are
That's what
telling-
God
but
did.
y'all
That's
are
what the
telling
Hebrew
me-
God did.
But y'all are telling me that there
No,
are
I'm not. I'm
things-
saying God don't need science.
I'm not saying God needs science. I'm saying
You are.
when the Bible explains what God is doing, right, and
It's
that
not
lines
scientific.
up. I didn't say that is scientific. I'm
None
saying
of
that
it is
we're gonna-
scientific.
He's
I'm
not
putting it
saying
like
it's
this.
scientific.
Put it like this. Put it like this. If
What
I
do you
wrote
say?
let's say, because you're trying to say the Bible is fictional. Let's say I wrote a fictional book.
I didn't say no. I didn't say it was fiction. I didn't say
No,
that.
you're not saying it, but some people are.
Yeah, I
So
said it's
let's say this.
folklore, it's
Let's-
mythology, it's stories.
Okay.
Some things are true,
Now,
right?
let's say
But it's
I'm
definitely
writing-
not scientific.
Walk with me, huh? Let's say I'm
I'm gonna
writing
walk
a
with you.
fiction. I'm writing a fictional book, right? If I detail things right in a manner that may be metaphoric, whatever. This is a fictional book. I'm just writing it, but then you know that some of the things that are described in this book are real in life. Why would you deny it?
Like what?
Because it's
Like what?
like time existing before the sun.
They don't even make no sense, man. Humans are hold on. I want you to know that humans didn't even know where the hell they was at. Do you know that?
Man, because they don't know it. I don't
No.
know.
Do you know that? No. Do you know humans didn't know where they was at? Think about that, yo.
You don't have to know it for it to happen, though.
To know where you at. That's how you gonna tell time if you don't know where you at.
But you don't have to know it for it to be a fact, for it to be happening.
Oh man, no.
Yes.
That's like you knew what an inch was. So you saying we always knew what an inch was?
No, I didn't say that.
But an inch existed, even though we didn't know what the fuck it was.
We discover shit.
That's what we saying. It still existed. Time still went on, even though
It's modern. All of these concepts and ideas that y'all are talking about, you benefit from it developing in modern times and getting better with time.
Yes,
I mean,
what we're saying is still exist. Time existed before people knew.
no, that's our
how to count it.
that's our explanation for our natural world. Those concepts that develop, the shit that we've gotten better at is our understanding of our natural world. So it's our turn to use our brains to explain what the fuck we think happening. And then now
What do
we
you
got so
think
good.
that we're saying here?
I don't know what y'all. You saying that a minute always existed, and I'm
Well,
saying
we're saying that time existed before we knew a concept of it.
How?
Like that's it. We're not saying the Bible created it. We're not saying the Bible knew it. Like it's there's nothing to do with the Bible. Y'all keep putting the two together, and it's like talk about one outside of the other. Because when you keep thinking that he's talking about the Bible, it's like you missing what was actually being said.
1 second, honey. How does something become a scientific fact? Huh?
How did it come, man?
How does
350.
what is that process for something to become a scientific fact? Not just a scientific theory, a scientific fact.
Well, I don't understand the question. How does something
a scientific theory is considered a fact, but I'm talking about an actual fact backed by.
It's an explanation of facts. It's not a fact, but it's an explanation of facts.
Yeah, you got me. Yeah, it's organizing the scientific facts. That's what the theory is.
Right.
It organizes the facts.
So how does that happen?
You take. Are you asking the question in relation to time, or you just switching up? We changing gears.
Yes. And I'm saying for anything, but you can apply it to how we know what time is.
So you saying it's a scientific fact that is 1 o'clock,
right?
On Earth, though, because once you leave Earth, all let's go out the window.
Yeah.
So it's right. That's why I say that's a human stand on Earth thing. That's not a universal thing, though. You know that, right?
You to start at the beginning so you can see what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying if time only exists on Earth, then it only exists on Earth.
How do we know it exists?
Over thousands of years.
What happened though? What started? Right, making predictions.
We started over time. We was around long enough to see things. No, humans was around long enough to see things starting to occur. So if you're around, if you can live long enough, right, to see summer, winter, spring, and fall, okay, and then you around long enough to see it happen a couple times, then you can start guessing that, and then you come up with the what they call the solstice, right? Where they start to recognize that the summer solstice. You can find this in Applier, right? Where they start to say, okay, this is occurring. So okay, but that's 350,000 years later.
I know
when they start to track the sun. And you know what I'm saying? That's
but that's what I'm saying is all we're saying is that it's still
a human concept, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man.
The human concept developed over time. You see what I'm saying? That concept developed. It's a fact. Am I lying, Sean? Am I lying? Did the concept develop over time, or was it instant?
Yo, you crazy, yo.
He trying to slide that. He trying to slide that belief in there, boy. He trying to slide that belief.
Hey, honey, I think he's tricking, yo. He's trying to make a point here. Huh?
Go ahead. I couldn't hear you. That's the only thing we can have is human concepts.
Right. So there you go. So since there's things more than humans that last longer than humans, then when I say it's not only a human concept, it's a human on Earth concept. Because once you leave Earth, once you leave the gravitational pull of the sun,
Earth is older than humans.
Correct.
But how do we know that?
How do we know what?
That Earth is older than humans.
Tools.
It's a human concept.
Stop it.
Because of the human concept.
The Hebrew people didn't know. The Hebrews didn't know that, though. The Hebrews didn't know that. You know that, though, right? The Hebrews didn't know that.
I said it developed over time. It started with something with what they did.
That's a funny one right there.
See, come on, man.
It developed over time. Yeah, you're right.
It did.
Yes, it did.
So just because like I said, they mentioned the days. They don't know everything. They didn't know everything that we know today, but they still said the shit.
Okay, but weren't the pyramids already built when the Bible was written?
But my thing is that
correct.
You saying that the Hebrews didn't know that? Go ahead, Stephanie. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So they knew how to build those pyramids.
Yeah, but not the Hebrews. Matter of fact, geologists was shocked when they went there. They was like, "What in the hell?" It killed them.
Weren't they in
the whole
Egypt?
Bible
I'm
thing.
confused. Don't they know all the pharaohs? Didn't they know all?
No, hey, no, nothing went. Nobody knew nothing. They came in there. It was covered in sand, and they were shocked because they realized wherever the hell they was at, and that Napoleon went he went on a scientific expedition, and we went there. They was utterly shocked. They say, "Oh shit, this place is older than our daggone religion itself. It's older than God," and it shocked them. It really had them in a state of shock at that point, because humans didn't even know that. They didn't even know you could be that old.
But Moses was raised as an Egyptian, bro.
No, that's a person in the book.
Oh my god!
That's a person in the book. See, I told you, honey.
Hey, this nigga just been laughing.
I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was coming. I said he's going to trick us. If we act this, he's going to get it. And there it goes.
I ain't even mad at him. I ain't mad. That's his belief system, though. I ain't mad at you.
He gotta stick to that. He gotta stick to
The
it.
Hebrews literally talked about Egypt in the Bible. There's pharaohs in the Old Testament.
Yeah, they didn't know all of them though. Even if looking at, if you look at it,
But
they
there's
had
like
no
5
idea.
or 6 in there.
No, it
Yeah,
ain't.
but
No, it ain't. Is it? I don't know. I don't know
You gotta
about that.
read it.
it don't matter. It don't matter if it's 5 or 6. The point is that they had no idea. You know how many people reigned before they even
Abraham
get
knew
it?
the Pharaoh. Abraham is
Nah,
the
he ain't know
father of all
nobody,
of these religions, and he knew the Pharaoh.
and he died at his own source.
I'm just saying he knew the Pharaoh.
He was fictitious. It's okay.
The beginning of the beginning of the Hebrews starts with Abraham in
That's what I'm
Egypt.
saying. How did they get
Yeah, there's a good argument for that debunks the whole Abraham myth. So, it's a good question.
Wait. What did the Bible have to do with what we were talking about?
Yeah, I don't.
No, we just.
I'm just
I don't
saying.
know. They just brought it up. I ain't got
That's
nothing
what
to
I'm
do.
asking.
He
He brought it
that's
up.
why.
I don't understand.
He's justifying his point.
They were saying that these people back then, he keeps saying the Hebrews, because they're the ones responsible for the Bible, wouldn't have knowledge of this stuff. So I brought up the fact that Moses grew up and then he said that Egyptians did know. So I pointed out the fact that Moses was an Egyptian. You get it?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the name Moses
but
ain't
did
even
he
in
have some?
the Meta-Nation.
Huh?
Yeah, I was about to say,
How would
did he have
how
some
would
type
you
of
write
knowledge?
Moses in Meta-Nation?
I don't know.
Because Moses was raised by the Pharaoh's daughter, right?
Oh my gosh.
Would he know? Would
No, I was
he be able to speak Egyptian and write in Egyptian?
because he
I
didn't
can't hear you.
show any kind of knowledge he would have had coming from Egypt. Like if your point was about
He
them
wrote
having knowledge,
that was my point.
what?
No, I got what you were saying on him. She just didn't. She didn't get what you were saying. Why you was telling
Because
Moses?
he didn't show. Moses never had no Egyptian knowledge that I know of.
He wrote Genesis.
Nah, what he's saying, what he's saying is, what he's saying is, but you got to think about the inclusion of how they said he was raised by pharaohs. So he's coming out the book, and he telling you based on that as a conversation or a source to introduce. It says right here, and we all know that it says that he, what I'm saying, was raised up like that. So I seen his introduction of slide him in there like that. That was pretty clear.
Hey, honey,
I ain't buying it.
honey and historian barbarian, honey and historian barbarian. I think y'all might be right about the time thing. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna take that back.
He keeps saying he
that
admitted that the Egyptians had
The concept of time on,
Yeah, I'm gonna
it's
take
a
that
human.
back.
It's a human thing, but they're arguing prior existence is the point. That's their point. Their point is even though we understand that it's time today. Well, if you go back and look at the scientific articles, that as we know it today, right?
Okay.
Just we're able to explain what we didn't know.
Right.
We didn't know what to call it or how to measure it or how to view it, and we had to build up to that point. Which you brought up, Naphtaliah. If we're using that was right. That was a tool that was developed thousands of years ago.
Start to understand it. I got you. So it would exist
right.
fundamentally. That would be the case. All right. So I take that back. Hey, Henny, see, I can take shit back now. Now take it back about Moses. Take it back. Still got time.
They're trying to save you the other way.
Yeah, I'm trying. Come on, man. Take it back. It's all good, man. Yeah, I ain't gonna argue you till the wheels fall off. I'm gonna figure it out.
I mean, I know it's just, but that's a fact, though. I mean, like, I understand what they were saying in the argument about, but it existed. We just didn't know what to call it, or you know what I mean? You had no concept of it because you still had day and night. You just didn't know it was day and night. You were confused. So when you look right, you looked up. You're like, what the hell just happened? You know what I mean? Like now. But think about that though. You don't know day and night, and then day and night happen, and then now you're susceptible to being killed by something that you couldn't see at nighttime that you could see during the daytime. So now you got to survive that.
Still trying to figure it out.
Right.
Moses
Because that goes back to Melvin's point, man. It goes back to Melvin's point. But that's the process. That's the process of wise man, though. Remember, Neanderthal wasn't as smart as Homo sapiens sapien. So we did things to survive that they couldn't do. We built quicker and faster. We used our brains. So that just goes back to show you that the evolutionary process transpired due to that and gave us advantages that other people didn't have. Other archaics and they didn't have.
Yeah, yo, you gotta give the Hebrews a break, yo. You putting too much pressure on them.
I ain't putting no pressure on them. I said
they Iron Age, they Iron Age people, yo. They not Bronze Age.
That's why I said it came from God. But when I say that, y'all get upset.
No.
I ain't getting
that was the point was that it was two separate things, but he was trying to say it must have been divinely inspired because science agrees with some of the things after all of the stuff that they put in.
Yeah, that's where you mess up at. So you equating something divine with being right and being able to be measured by science, and that's where you mess up at. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I'm saying, but it's confirmation for us, right? Because
no, it shouldn't be.
What was
no, you got it wrong. Because your confirmation should be did you just believe it? That's your confirmation. You have faith in it.
But he's admitting that he has a bias. He's admitting, so you just let him walk out with it. He's telling us, like, I have a confirmation bias here based on this pack of knowledge that I adhere to. This is what I believe. So if this is my belief system, and then it's this, that, and the third, he has the right to say that based on his belief. And he ain't arguing against it. Now, the moment that he takes it and then he tries to make it something else, then it's out, then we can go and test it.
That's just the Hebrew God, though. That's the Hebrew God, though. That's not Australian deity or Chinese deity or West African deity God.
That's fine, but we only talk the whole conversation.
No, I'm just letting you know that there's other deities at play. You can't just rule out, and then that make you arrogant. Yeah, then that make you belong.
He got to go change his. He got to go change his outfit though. He can't wear his hat backwards and all that stuff. He got to go get in the costume.
You're doing too much if you do that. Now you like white people. They had the only God.
Do y'all understand the point for real though? Like I wasn't trying to cross bridge you. I told y'all I was using the logic that's behind the way y'all think to say that this can't exist because the Bible says it. That's all I'm saying. It exists.
Now there's some reality in it.
Right.
As it comes to historical events.
Huh? Yeah. What was you saying? I'm saying that the order of things in the Bible is wrong. In creation, it's wrong. That's
right.
what
that's
my
different
point.
Conversation. That's a different conversation.
I thought that was a conversation.
Nah, bro, we all came in at different points.
I remember the conversation was we finished off on.
We didn't even get into I went into the order of Charles, right? Because I was talking about the vegetation and stuff like that on that, but we didn't get into
that was all wrong. Remember the seed bearing plants wasn't before the plants that didn't have seeds. Remember we figured that out.
The seed, right.
Right. The seed don't like the egg don't come before, or the seed don't come before the plant. Remember that?
My point is that could be there before the nutrients from the sun to cause it to sprout.
No, not the seed. No seeds. Remember, no seeds. It's clear. It says seed bearing plant. No seeds yet.
But I showed you that in Genesis 2 when it said that the plants hadn't grew. They hadn't sprouted because he hadn't caused it to rain yet.
But we also know upon the early intention of but we also know that there are plants who were able to germinate without seeds. So we can't use seeds as an argument.
Called spores. I'm telling you, it was spores. They were spores.
Yeah, spores, absolutely. Yeah, but there's more than just spores. There are actual plants that don't require it.
Okay, so you're telling me that in the beginning he had to make it rain first.
Don't do that.
Make it rain first.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right, I'm saying that. How did that?
There's no life without the sun.
What's the order of this?
Facts. That's facts. Go ahead. What was you saying?
No, I was saying, what's the order of that?
No, ain't no argument, bro. In the beginning.
No, I said, what's the order of the sun
Oh,
giving life to the plant? What's the order? Do the plants grow first, or do the sun help them grow?
What? Man,
it's a lot of process before that.
Whole
I
lot of
mean,
process. You gotta be able to handle oxygen. Oxygen gonna kill the hell out you because oxygen was the first poison. It's like, you know what I mean, like the great oxidation. You know what that is, right?
So that's what I'm saying. Is there a process before it becomes a?
Yeah, it's a process. Yeah, it's definitely.
It's a lot of gases and stuff that transpired earlier on that had to settle basically from the explosion. So once you get all these different gases going in different directions, and then they create what would be pretty much what we could call a masterpiece for existence. Because prior to that, you couldn't exist, or I mean, what we know as life forms couldn't exist.
Yeah,
like
the whole planet, right? Planet tills, all that, all kind of shit before you get to that.
And then the sun would induce it. Then no, I'm just saying that metaphorically. No, then nobody created it. You can't
It's
do
a
that.
masterpiece.
No, I'm using that word. I'm using that word. Don't superimpose my word on reality.
Because I'm not into religion or anything, but I believe that in God, like in a creator or whatever. Like,
yeah, you have the right to.
But I'm just saying, like, it's too perfect, like you said. It's a masterpiece that.
No, it's not. It's not perfectly shaped though.
Well, no, it's shaped more like, it's kind of squashed a little bit from the top and
Himmy said they were created in his image. Then we got retarded people.
That could be the perfect shape to God. You don't know that.
Right.
Oh wow. All right, man. I'm off here, man. Y'all funny as hell. Which God? My God. Good God.
I don't think that God wants to interfere into my daily life and shit like that. God is watching his creation.
Nah, but he does intervene. So it's selective intervention.
Maybe his kids.
I ain't getting into that, bro. I ain't getting into that. I'm just gonna sit back and listen to y'all.
That's most people's issue. It's not that they don't think God exists. It's because of the selective intervention that is like, okay, why? He must he ain't real. That's when they become atheists and start saying he don't.
But why you know the sexual classification of this higher power?
Right. Well, I don't think it has a sex. I just say that when I grew up.
I'm just going by Himmy. I'm going by Himmy. Why can't be a female?
It's referred as he throughout the Bible.
What if it's a hermaphrodite?
He and the father.
It is.
Now you just making up shit.
How are women made in God's image if God isn't part woman?
Yo, y'all are crazy, yo.
I'm serious.
Maybe transgender, the first transgender.
Man, what's up?
Yeah, I think that's my cue to get up off this call.
Man, don't worry, man. You justify this. Come on, give me some answers. Which one of the books you got on
the yin and
this?
yang, the feminine and the masculine. You can't have one without the other. Like, how can God create everybody and not be both?
I'm going with both.
We've been on my topic for 2.5 hours, bro. We ain't letting.
I know, right? We're gonna have to do another show. And Jalen ain't
hold on. What was supposed to be the other topics? My bad, y'all. My bad.
You said what? I didn't say what.
I don't know. I thought you had something to say earlier. You stopped.
Oh no. Yeah, Tiffany basically beat me to it, so yeah, I ain't nothing to say.
Oh,
what did I say? You said a lot.
You can't let Kamala beat you to it. You got to be like
you was talking about probably the astronomy or astrology. I don't know. I know he's Sumerian, so that got to do with the stars and the.
Yeah, like that's one of the oldest. What do you guys call that? Proto-sciences? Is it now pseudoscience?
No, Sean gonna say it's a pseudoscience for his ass.
But
it is.
Astronomy.
But it's listed as a proto-science.
Nah, pseudo.
It's listed as a proto-science, and it even made a distinct difference between
Proto is
pseudo and pseudo. I think I need to revisit my presentation.
Yeah, I'm gonna beat it up because now you're gonna try to use proto-science.
Yeah.
Hey, some people consider string theory a proto-science.
That's crazy.
What?
Yeah.
You heard what he said. Read the rest of the wiki article. I think it's some interesting stuff on that article.
For the proto-science?
Yeah, for proto-science.
I saw astrology, and that was what I needed.
Yeah, I know that because you want to use that to try to justify your ignorance.
No,
okay. Go ahead and do it.
First of all, I argued that it was a belief. You argued it was a pseudoscience. It's not a pseudoscience.
It is. It's because people try to make it scientific. People try to make it.
Okay, if it's a proto-science, it is.
Oh, people try to make it a part of our natural world. They try to make it a part of the natural world. And it's unnatural as I don't know what.
The constellations are natural, right?
Oh, man, here we go.
The belief attached to it are not.
Here we go. That's what makes it a pseudoscience. That's what makes it a pseudoscience.
No, it's not. Okay, get a belief, but no.
Hold on. Time out. No. Hold on. Time out. Hold on. Read what pseudoscience is. The scientific definition of pseudoscience.
Why don't we read proto-science? I like proto-science.
Hold on. And then listen to what you just said about the constellations and the etc. That's what I'm saying. It's a pseudoscience, bro. You definitely are trying.
No, EIE, it's not the realm stuff. I'm just saying, if it's proto-science, there was, like I said before, it was a scientific aspect. It's just that extra part of it that they added to it that's not scientific.
They did add to it.
Yeah, so like astronomy is where they took that belief part off of it. Right?
But prior to that, it was called astrology. And even now, when someone's like,
use a proto-science,
they're going to find out when you were born so they can know where the planets were and all of this different stuff. So they're still
crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy. Who's looking at the planets when you're born? Hey, that's crazy.
Early humans, they didn't have TV.
Nah, bro.
That's all people had to look at for thousands of years.
Okay, so now you finna. Okay, I got you. So now you can see the planets. They seen Pluto too, huh?
Somebody drew it, didn't it?
Who drew it? Who drew Pluto?
I don't know.
We need our.
Can we use Pluto anymore? Doesn't it no longer exist or something?
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm talking about. He's trying to use Pluto, but I'm saying other planets. They drew an image of how it's supposed to look. Don't we have that?
I think you're talking about our planet, not other planets.
Don't the Sumerians come from a different planet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they pseudo. Their whole culture pseudo.
But they had but they still knew it was other planets.
Right. So you can't say they're pseudo and you know that there's other planets.
Yes, I can.
You think that just because it's a belief don't mean it's pseudo. Just because it's a belief don't mean it's pseudo. Pseudo is when you passing the belief off as something else.
The whole Sumerian culture is pseudo?
Like that didn't make sense.
Like in Mesopotamia?
I don't think he meant it like that.
I think he's just talking about their mysticism or whatever, which we know that. Like, but it still has information, other planets, other things like that. Like, how do you know that? That's a knowledge.
Samaria had a lot of knowledge. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Unc said that how did the Jews, Israelites know, like how did they know to understand it? I mean, information came from them. They're from that area. They're descended from that area. That's what I was saying. As far as some other shit, nah, I was just saying that. But they've always had. I mean, like they said, they always known about the stars, planets, constellations, all kinds of shit. Matter of fact, they had a shit. I just got back to my laptop. Hold on. What was it? Give me a second. Why did I get so quiet?
I was waiting for you.
You was explaining something.
Oh no, so I'm over here. I'm like, hey, why everybody get so quiet?
Used to the back chat. He like, why ain't nobody talking?
Look, man, like what the hell going on?
He like, I ain't gotta talk over people. What's going on?
I can't even find him. I lost what I lost it. I thought I had the tab, but it's not on here no more. But I can say like even in the ancient world, like you have heard of the it was a mechanism. It's called the anti I can't even pronounce it, man.
Anti-thera, whatever.
Yeah. Like even with that, like
I'm pronouncing it right either.
I don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? But even that mechanism right there, it was remarkably accurate.
Anti-thera.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Like it was accurate. It was extremely accurate, predicting the position of the sun, moon, and
You're talking
planets.
about like the oldest computer type
Yeah.
shit? Gotcha.
But I mean, that's part of the ancient world. So we have to ask that same question: how did they know, and how were they able to come up with this contraption, this mechanism, to understand the sun, moon, and the planets? Oh, that's it. That's all I got to say.
I'm tired of all these scientific believers.
Well, the field of science is made up of them. I mean, you can't put it. The field of science is made up of believers.
I understand, but they believe in science, though. It's like a thing. Like if science didn't touch it, it's not real. Like I'm keeping seeing that. Like science is the.
Yeah, but I can.
You want to get into that? You want to get into that scholastically? With source material? No. What you just said, nigga. I ain't about that. So I'm asking specific questions.
What's happening?
Now she know what she said. So do you want to scholastically get into that? Do you want that smoke? Just let me know if you want this smoke. Yeah. Just let me know if you want this smoke. We can get into that. Yeah.
Because
we're gonna do it right here on the channel. We're gonna do it right here tomorrow night. Is that a bet?
Yeah.
You prepared? You got all day to get prepared. I'm gonna beat your motherfucking ass.
She gonna get beat up, man.
She knows she like getting beat up. She like the abuse. Get turned on.
I'm getting beat up. I'm not about to get beat up. But y'all into science. Like you trying to talk shit. I'm trying to think now. You trying to talk shit. I ain't got time. Listen, all right, cool.
You know what you said. I'm clipping this shit.
You use science as a religion. Science is the new religion.
Alright, this motherfucker saying no religion. Fuck that. You know what you said.
Ain't that
kind of...
Huh?
You know what you said. What you tired of? That's only because you want to hold on to astrology. Now your issue is you want to hold on to astrology. You can't let that shit
go. You believe in science?
No, I don't believe in science. No.
It is.
No, we only deal with the natural world. You can't go. The moment you go outside the natural world, I don't give a fuck about none of that. I don't give a fuck about none of that.
You're saying.
Nope. I ain't everybody else. The moment you go outside the natural world and we can't measure it, test it, touch it, taste it, feel it, play with it, nah.
Right, but I'm saying it doesn't only have to deal with something outside the natural world.
Nah, bro. Nah, science deal with the natural world. Show me what science did with. Show me what science did with the. Nah, show me what science did with the unnatural world, nigga. You can your belief, your belief. Your belief. I ain't arguing with you about your belief.
Okay,
you
I
got
have a
it.
question, Sean.
What you got?
Get like
What you got, Kamala?
What? Do you ever have deja vu? Like,
no, Kamala.
No, never. Okay, never.
No, Kamala.
Okay, never mind.
Alrighty.
Because he, y'all.
Nah, don't ain't no because he nothing. Nah, don't because he nothing.
Because everybody don't have to hearken until you like science is the standard for everybody's supposed to just believe in what the fuck it says.
I ain't say listen. No, if it requires a belief, it ain't the standard. If it requires a belief, it ain't the standard. That's my point.
Well, that's why.
So no matter what you say, if it requires a belief, it ain't no standard.
You just experience it sometimes, but
Yeah. I ain't tripping on people's experiences and anything like that. And they can be anecdotal or they ain't anecdotal, and it's common. And certain sciences explain away certain shit. I ain't saying none of that. But what I am saying, the minute you go outside our natural world, I stop. And you're entitled to whatever you believe at that point forward. Because I don't want to argue with you with your belief unless you're an abo.
What about the people who believe in like the Moors and stuff like that? And it has nothing to do with
them the only people that I'm arguing with is you ain't listening to me. If you go back and you listen, I only argue with abos, Hebrews, Moors, who else? Niggas don't be claiming to be Sumerian. They be claiming the Anunnaki real.
What about them
and that be some bullshit.
let those people live. Why you can't let them be who they want to be?
No, I ain't letting them niggas. Nah, because that influence black people. That whatever get us off of who the fuck we are, I argue against that.
I don't know.
If you want to be Christians, I don't give a fuck about you being no Christian. I might give a fuck if you're a Muslim. I don't understand that part.
I'm gonna say this. I agree with what the OG saying when it comes to the Anunnaki. It corrupts the black people. I agree with 110%. 110.
What?
Yeah.
So what's the standard? What's the black standard? Because morality and all this shit is subjective. So how do you view it, Sean? Like what are you saying the standard for
what I mean by it is, all right, so us in America specifically is what I'm referring to, right? We have tried to take on so many different identities of who we are to get away from who we really are. That's what I argue against, and those little subclades of individual cliques are an issue for us because we'll take that and then we'll spin it into some shit that it ain't even for when you go and you study it and try to understand it. So my point, my measurement for that, well, I can say my point. My point in all of that is that it creates an anti-African sentiment. And if you listen to these people when they argue, write their points, it'll come off that rhetoric. It'll sound the same. It'll just be cloaked in we've been in America, or we're the goddamn Moors that was up in Europe and we took over Spain. It's cloaked in
Yeah, shit like that. You see what I'm saying? So I'm anti that because who are the real Moors? They call white people Moors too. So which ones are we referring to? Are we referring to the people that were converted to being labeled this, or are we using the real terms applied? It's a whole bunch of confusion that comes up with that, bro. And then it ends up just being that rhetoric at the end of the day. And I'm anti that, man. We killed ourselves. We used to fight for being black and brown. And that wasn't too long ago. And we weren't even born. A lot of us weren't even born at the time that our mothers and fathers was fighting to be black and proud in America. And now we like, fuck being black and proud. We Moors. We the goddamn Israelites.
So you don't have no issue with the ones that say that they do originate from Africa, though? Like they say all that comes from...
the Hebrews?
Yeah.
They just started doing that. That's the new wave Hebrew. That Divine Prospect was probably the first one to jump on it earlier on, but then he goes and he started lying on Africa, and that's when you gotta defend that because they're gonna say that these certain West African tribes was Israelites and all that old shit. Then you gotta argue against that shit. You can claim your Africanness, but if you're smart enough to separate it right from beliefs that you're having, or you keep that shit private and individualized to yourself, and you're not trying to sell it to people, then you cool with me if you keep your shit to you. I don't see you going around. I don't see you going around selling Christianity to everybody in the goddamn chat. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Like your belief in Christianity.
I do, but I definitely do. But
I don't see it. I'm saying you might argue for it when you debate somebody, but it's a difference. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference. You're not selling it like
you don't proselyte everybody as soon as they come in. You're trying to save them.
My God is the all-time God. You be like, Jesus died for my sins. He died for your sins.
Or they can't live their life because of your standard of God. They can't live how they live. Like you don't do that. They'll try to rebuke somebody.
Israelites do that.
Yeah, I got you.
Nah, it's all respect. When I start arguing with Christians, I start to understand. That Christians, Israelites are just angry Christians. They created a whole nother denomination for themselves to try to justify being some goddamn Mortal Kombats in the Bible, even though they just can't be like the common folk that's in the book. They got to be these other people. They got to be superior, bro. How is it 200,000 people gonna get to heaven, and there's 2 million of y'all? Which 10% of y'all is gonna get there? Cause all of y'all on the same bullshit. You're beating women. You're doing all this old crazy shit with them. Come on, man. Like, bro, y'all ain't getting. They gonna get to their final resting place on whatever they believe. And there's gonna be a woman right there. They gonna be pissed off.
This nigga crazy.
See how I fucked up that shit, bro?
I didn't expect that. I was like, what?
They gonna die. And they go to heaven. It's gonna be a woman right there, nigga. They gonna lose their goddamn mind.
That's crazy. Son crazy, man.
You be having belief, Sean.
He don't realize it. He always says not.
I have a question then, Sean. What do you call? Because I asked you this before, but what about psychology?
Oh shit! No, I ain't doing this with you again.
It's considered a science. It's all science, but it's a science.
I'm trying to argue with you about no soft science.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's a belief.
I can give you the smoke though. The topic of the soft science in which you're trying to explain that it's so soft. You know what I mean? What can we
But psychology in and of itself, it's talking about
Show me the experiment. What's the experiment? What's the experiment?
All right, I will find.
Show me the study, and I will be glad to read it.
talk about it.
There's so many though. Like,
No, ain't no so many. It's gonna be. It's gotta be systemic. So it's gotta be repeatable. What the fuck am I trying to say? Yeah, it's gotta be repeatable. What the fuck is this motherfucker doing right here on the interstate? Melvin saying something to us, by the way. You interrupted Melvin. Melvin, what's up, bro? You gone?
Yeah, I'll say, we'll find out next time. We'll find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. This topic. In the meantime, we've been like 3 hours on this call, so.
Oh shit! Yeah. Peace, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
Appreciate you pulling up, bro.
Everybody,
Thank you, Sean.
everybody, give your outros.
I came up here to spot him.
I'm chilling up.
Okay.
The other sister ain't saying nothing. I'm gonna cuss you out in your chat. Peace out.
Don't do that.
All right, bro.
All right,
y'all. Okay.
All right.
Are y'all done?
Yeah.
Y'all say outro?
Yeah.
Before we do the outros, anything coming up next? Any debates? Any shows? I know.
Yeah, we got the Goddess News coming on Saturday, everybody. Saturday afternoon. It's a debate tomorrow on Paradigm Shift. That has nothing to do with us, but it's one there. What else is coming up? We're gonna have another show with Jay Lim, because we still got to talk about, other stuff that happened on Judah Nash channel. We got to talk about this source that people don't know how to comprehend and read. So we'll be back though. Everybody.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Yep. So that's the show, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Everybody who stopped through on the panel. Appreciate everybody who come in.
Yeah, Juju, Silky, and Anquest. Thanks for coming, and Joel too. Even though I think Joel got punished, but thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget to look out for the history with Tiffany that's coming out soon.
Right.
History with Tiffany. That's random info, everybody.
Right. Well, you know what I'm saying? I'm Himmy.